A very good morning to all the esteemed speaker and participants. I, Deepika Pal, Assistant Professor, Department of Dietetics and Applied Nutrition, Amity Medical School, stand before you today with immense pleasure and pride as we gather here for an enriching event that is 5 days faculty development program organized by the Association of Indian Universities, Amity University, Haryana, Academic and Administration Development Center. So let's begin our plenary session on day 2 on ICT-enabled learning process. So today we have an impressive lineup of speakers and presentations awaiting us, each contributing their unique perspective and expertise. I encourage you all actively participate and ask questions and engage in thought-provoking discussion. Now, I have honor of welcoming our first speaker for today's session, Dr. Geeta Bisla ma'am. Dr. Geeta ma'am is an associate professor in the Department of Food Science and Nutrition from Vanasthali Vidyapeeth. She has more than 24 years of experience in teaching. Ma'am has guided more than 7 PhD students and also guided nearly 70 students for different projects. She has published 27 papers in various national and international journals and numerous articles in different magazines. She has also been honored with Women Research Award 2023 by INSO. Ma'am has attended around 30 international and national conferences and workshops. So today we have the privilege of having Dr. Geeta ma'am among us, a distinguished scholar and an active member in the field of academy. Welcome, ma'am. Now I would request to ma'am, please start the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Deepika. Today, I'm going to discuss this role of ICT in the enhancement of nutrition-based skills among learners. So, if we talk about ICT, all of us know the full form, information and communication technology is called ICT in short. So ICT is not new. ICT are basically information handling tools, a set of equipments, applications, and services to produce, store, process, distribute, and exchange the information. From the ancient time, we are sharing information and technology is developing. In the past years, radio, television, telephones, and audio video tapes were the part of ICT. And regular classrooms were traditional classroom where teachers used to teach the students in a old manner of they used like these radio, television, and telephone types. So the use of ICT was very limited in the classroom teaching. But nowadays, you can see the new ICT involves computers, satellites, wireless, internet, and chat GPTs. So all the I can say hardware, equipments, softwares, even lectures come under the ICT. You can see here the ICT includes laptops, projections, mobiles, e-books, tablets. These are the hardware equipment, even mics or other instruments which are coming. Emails, chats, text messaging, classrooms like Zoom meetings, Skype, social networking, blogs, tweeting, AI are all the part of this ICT. So we can use these materials or softwares for the video conferencing, audio, video, CD, DVD, podcast, education softwares, ebooks, and e-magazines. So these are this is the introduction of ICT, all of us know. Today I'm going to talk about the role of ICT in nutrition education. because corona pandemic has changed the whole scenario. Earlier, we were not very used to these software materials or online teaching, all these. But this has changed two fields very significantly. One is banking system and one is teaching. तो कोरोना में हाँ क्या हुआ कि हम जितना भी स्टडी मटेरियल हम प्रिपेयर कर रहे थे उनको डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कम्युनिकेशन मेथड से हम स्टूडेंट्स को ट्रांसफर कर रहे थे. तो उस ड्यूरिंग दिस प्रोसेस वी इन्वेंटेड, वी एक्सप्लोर्ड डिफरेंट कम्युनिकेशन मेथड्स सो दैट वी कैन बेटर रीच टू द स्टूडेंट्स. So if we are going to talk about the role of ICT in nutrition field, we will discuss in according to the three aspects. One is, if we see this from the teacher's point of view, as a nutrition teacher, how can we use ICTs for the better teaching or for the to update ourselves according to the recent developments. And we will also discuss according to the aspects of students and researchers also. With the timing, we have seen that different types of classrooms, websites, online courses are available for the students. If we talk about the importance of ICT from the teacher point of view, it obviously help us for the to prepare better study material, online courses. We can provide distant education, availability of study, different types of resources, such study materials, and other things. So in my university also, during the corona pandemic, we prepared video lectures. We prepared lectures like blackboard teaching, smartboard teaching, or like PowerPoint presentations, and then we converted them into the videos. And in the live class, we used to share these lectures, and after that, we could handle the queries of the students. By this, the teaching quality was very improved. Students were very satisfied in the pandemic, because in the lectures we could use other kind of examples, videos, and very attractive lectures were prepared in my university, specifically regarding if we see the nutrition. So we were able to teach very effectively in the corona pandemic. So if we prepare different kind of videos and all these, we can teach the students for 2, 3, 4 years continuously without changing the other make changes in them.
Ma'am, sorry for disturbing. Ma'am, please make your slide on slide share mode.
It's not. I was talking that we were able to prepare the good quality lectures, online lectures, so that we were able to teach students very efficiently. So we again, our university is going online for online courses. So online courses like SWAYAM, government ka, even we explored some online courses like we were able to prepare lectures very efficiently in the corona with the use of ICT. We use Google Meet to share the lectures. Even online courses are very efficient way to teach the students. There are different government courses and international courses. So हमने भी उसमें कुछ एक्सप्लोर किए, लाइक स्वयं के कोर्सेज थे, and some other courses like edX, Coursera. Those were matching with our curriculum. और उसमें यूजीसी ने रिकमेंड किया है कि लाइक हम कुछ ऐसे कोर्सेज को आइडेंटिफाई करें जो हमारे ट्रेडिशनल कोर्सेज से मैच कर रहे हैं, एंड देन वी रिकमेंड द स्टूडेंट्स, सो हमें जो है क्लासरूम टीचिंग का लोड कम हो, स्टूडेंट्स वर एबल टू डू दोज कोर्सेज एंड उनके क्रेडिट उसमें ऐड कर दिए जाएंगे. So these online courses are helpful in teaching also. Distant education is possible with the help of ICT. Distant education, every university is going to in the distant education mode. UGC has permitted. So our university is also going in the distance education mode by preparing some traditional courses and some certificate courses also. In nutrition, we are also planning to start around 50 certificate courses for the national and international students. ICT also helpful in availability of make available the study resources for the students. We can prepare study resources and put them on a cloud or any other website or university's website, so that students can do or avail those study materials anytime. So you can see different universities, even international universities, put their study resources online so that students can be benefited with the huge knowledge which is going in the different part of the world. And हमारे students भी like smart resources available हो सकेंगे. दूसरा फोर्थ बेनिफिट ये है आईसीटी का कि we can handle large number of students, like some are in off classes, like in off classes we can handle 50 to 100 students in the class. But if we use ICT or virtual classrooms, we can handle 100, 200, maybe the 1,000 students at a time. They can do courses. So these are the benefits of ICT in for the teachers in nutrition field. But the main challenge is to prepare the study materials. इसमें main challenge क्या है कि time के साथ साथ inventions हो रही हैं, नई information आ रही है, like in the field of nutrition, very applied subject. आज जो dietary guidelines हैं कल नहीं होंगी या उसके बाद change होती रहती हैं या नई inventions आती हैं, उस केस में study material हमें change करना पड़ता है और teachers को भी update होना पड़ता है. In online courses also we have to screen them और उन्हें time to time change करना पड़ता है ताकि students को updated versions मिल सके. तो उसके लिए again new technology, new resources, new knowledge is required. So teacher will also have to go through these updates definitely so that they can guide the students better. ICT is also very important for the new students because with the help of information technology, we can provide better study material to the students. Like better study material, like as I said, in classroom teaching, we cannot show the audio visual aids, so examples, pictures, but with the help of ICT, we can provide them other additional information which is not possible in the off-room, this classroom teaching. So ICT will is also helping the students so that they can understand better this subject with the help of different kind of study materials. Nowadays, students have different, I can say a wide range of online courses. Online courses are so wide, like in nutrition field also, some students want to be specialized in cooking, some want to be specialized in food science. Food science means the nature and the nutrients and the behavior of the foods during food preparation and food production. On the other side, some students also want to be specialized in dietetics, food processing in different ways. So in these classroom teaching, all the students are treated equally, and they have to to study the subjects in which they are not interested or want to be specialized. But with the help of online course, they can search better courses and can do. So universities can provide different kind of short-term and long-term courses so that students can select according to their interests. So with the time being, the UGC also has permitted open choices to the students. So in the coming years, online courses will be very popular, and with the efficient use of this communication technology, we can prepare good and very good quality of online courses. Distant education again is possible due to the information technology, which is developing continuously. We can see with last 1 or 2 years only, internet and virtual classroom were the mode of teaching. Now ChatGPT is the recent advancement, and some more advancement like classes are taken by the robots or so. So distant education, you can see nowadays a child is living in the remote area of any part of the world can access education with the help of this communication and internet technology. So distant education is increasing the skills of the students, availability of the education is also enhanced. With the help of ICT, availability of study resources is more. As I said, कि हमारी university ने ये you can choose edX, some courses from the edX, Coursera, or any other university other than the SWAM or with any other university, so that students can avail the information which is not available in my university or taught by the teachers here. They can avail any kind of study resource or study resource or material from any part of the world. So world-class education can be accessed by the students. They can access world-class, they can interact with the professors of Harvard University from the other part, like from the Netherlands, any part of the world जहाँ पर वो researches अच्छा हो रही है, अच्छी education available है, वो वहाँ से information avail कर सकते हैं और recent knowledge can be availed. In nutrition education, we also prepare nutritional professionals like dietetics, dietitians, nutritionists. डिफरेंट तरह के प्रोफेशनल्स हम तैयार करते हैं, न्यूट्रिशनल प्रोफेशनल्स. जब वो पास आउट कर जाते हैं तो उनको कैसे जो है अपने एनहेंस करने हैं स्किल्स, लाइक विद द हेल्प ऑफ ICT they have access to large number of clients. You can see the different slimming companies or different kind of nutrition service providing companies. They can access their clients from any part of the world. So if students are going to start their own business or own company, they can access a large number of clients with the help of information technology. Even online consultancy is very common nowadays. Experts, or we can say nutrition experts, can consult any I can say client or patient and can guide nutrition to or nutritional plan to him or her. Like बहुत सारे NRIs हैं, वो Indian food के regarding consultancies चाहते हैं. So Indian the nutritional professionals who are sitting in India can provide consultancy to them. Even the personal attention can be given to the clients with the help of ICTs. With the informational technology, one-to-one meetings, one-to-one interviews can be done. E.g., dietary calculations, personalized diets, it can also be planned with the help of ICTs. You can take the feedback or conditions or biochemical parameters from the patient or your client and can give personalized dietary or nutritional guide to him or her. Even ICT in the field of nutrition is also important for the nutrition researchers. If researchers are planning to do research in different remote areas, so they can access their target groups to collect the data. Earlier, data collection was very tedious job because researchers have to send their letters or performers through mail or telephonic calls. Now, video calling is very popular. So with the help of video call, researchers can see the situation or can take the interview of respondents so that authentic data can be collected, or detailed, we can say detailed information can be collected from the target groups or samples. So we have different kind of even tools and techniques like calculation of dietary intake or different kind of statistical tools to calculate the intake or optimum intake of the diets by the people. So in we can say ICT is going to play a very significant role in the recent years for the teachers also and for the students also. But there are some challenges like unavailability of the proper, we can say hardwares, like in remote areas, if people are not, don't have access to the internet or gadgets like mic, computer, then the use of ICT becomes limited. Internet is a very big problem in India, like in remote areas, internet facility is very poor till now. So in that case, जो हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी है उसका यूज बहुत ही लिमिटेड हो जाता है और उसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं. So we can't see students attentive hai ya nahi hai. Like in coronavirus, it was very hard to judge student is participating in the class or not. So this is a big challenge. It means infrastructure. In the even in the continuous, it had been seen that continuous changes and updates are also required. क्योंकि within 1 year जो findings, changes, study materials change हो जाते हैं, so उसके लिए एक tedious job है कि लगातार उनको change करना, update करना. So sometimes students may confuse older information or lectures appropriate हैं या अभी के appropriate हैं. Or in nutrition field, we can see like information is continuously changing. जो dietary guidelines किसी particular disease या condition के लिए 1 year before थे may not be today. तो उसके according continuous changes जरूरी हैं. और उसके साथ साथ ICT can't replace human resources. Like teacher can give 100 of examples to the students to clarify the subject or can update the student. But in ICT, the information is very limited. Detailed information cannot be given, or sometimes very limited or a set of information. Like in ChatGPT, if you search a particular topic, you will get a set information, no additional information, which can be given by the teachers. So here are some challenges, like we have to update ourselves and our study materials also, so that effective learning and teaching combination can be prepared. So these communication, like communication technology is obviously helpful, and continuously we are going for the going in the advanced mode, where it becomes easier for the teachers and students in some way, but it also becoming difficult in other ways. Like I said, के study materials को update करना है, right information देनी है, there is huge information available for the students. So which one is right or wrong? This should be guided by the teachers. Like as I said, in my university, we have decided some courses from Coursera, even edX or SWAM and other organizations like other science institutes, so they can avail right information. But उसमें भी right content है या नहीं, that is also to be screened. So ICT is helpful, but this must be provided with the help, or we can say under the guidance of teachers, and teachers must have to update themselves according to the recent advancements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear participants, please write your queries in your chat box. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. We are truly privileged to have had the opportunity to hear from you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here and delivering a good presentations. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Lakshita. How are you?
Fine, sorry to trouble you. And
No, not at all. I mean, I did come to know that the previous session had finished earlier. So, but then it's all right. As long as we can manage, it's okay.
Okay, thank you for taking the time for us, and you are traveling, I know that.
Yeah, that's my normal.
Our participants are eagerly waiting to listen to you.
So I'm also very, very excited and happy to be there with all of you. And thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, our next speaker is Dr. Deepti Verma, ma'am, and she is currently working as head nutrition at VLCC. She has experience of more than 25 years in the field of nutrition and dietetics, and she holds gold medalist in her master's in food and nutrition and also topped in her doctorate program. She also has worked as lecturer, nutrition consultant, wellness coach, writer, editor. She has been the guest speaker at several national and international conferences. She has conducted many FDPs for university affiliated to UGC. And Dr. Deepti ma'am has been the recipient for the Women of Substance Award from India Leadership Summit for Excellence in Education for the year 2023. She herself is an avid fitness freak and harmonious her life with running and eating healthy. She is a professional yoga trainer as well as professional athlete. So we have the privilege of having ma'am among us. Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome you, and over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all this honor. So all that Women of Substance Award was actually for various CSR activities that I keep doing. So I keep going to Tihar jail, working very closely with the inmates, and I, at the personal level also, I support many NGOs and old age homes, and also underprivileged children, girls education. I personally fund them. And so that Women of Substance was not really for nutrition, it was for that. But yeah, in nutrition category, of course, I just won an Excellence of in Education Global Award at Singapore, and where I spoke on the same topic that I will be talking to all of you today. Somehow it was exactly the same topic, but it was technology in learning food and nutrition. What was the topic that was given to me then? So yeah, so we'll just get going. Can I share the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, as of now. Okay, so Yes. So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today it's a very nice, interesting topic, technology in teaching and learning in food science and nutrition. I think for all of us who are pass outs from late 80s and early 90s, so I finished my master's in the year 1992. And since then, I've been working in the field of nutrition and dietetics since 1992. So for us to be actually using the technology has been quite challenging in the initial years, but now it has paved the way for all the future generations, and also for us, it's really simplified us. So it all, whatever I would be sharing with you, all comes from my heart and my effort that I have made to learn technology and incorporate that into the teaching here with us when we teach various nutrition courses. So we use a lot of technology otherwise. So of course, like using technology has simplified us in any multiple ways, in the sense that you can say that, it helps in student engagement, because what happens is in the classroom teaching, when the teacher is actually talking and sitting in front, like standing in front of the students, it's always sometimes the attention span fades away, because obviously when it is a monotonous way of teaching constantly for 1 hour, 90 minutes sometimes, so it really works in the sense that, it might invite a little boredom into the classroom, because like the teachers also teaching in a similar tone, although very interesting and very meaningfully so. But so it is said in all the researchers that whenever there is the use of the 3Ds and 4Ds which is involved in the classroom and in the virtual way of teaching, the imprints that are made in the conscious and subconscious mind are more permanent. So that way, whenever we incorporate a hybrid mode of teaching is what I would say. While I would never like to take away the essence of the classroom teaching when it comes to the importance and the permanence of the learning in the student's mind, but yeah, the more hybrid way of teaching anytime becomes more retaining for the students. So here, definitely student engagement is much more when we are actually using the digitalization and also the technology in the teaching mode. And it fosters critical learning, because there are some things, even if we draw on the board or on the whiteboard or, whichever, it does not come across if it is actually seen virtually, So that's why in the schools today also there are various AV programs and AR programs that are run, which I would be talking about later in my slide. And then another one provides practical skills that can be applied in real world scenarios. So this is again something which has become, so that means because of digitalization and technology, we have been able to take education outside the classrooms, within the classrooms. Okay, so of course we can show a great, like we have been doing this, like a factory visit for which we would actually spend. So if we talk about a factory visit that we normally have as part of all our curriculums, right? So we have something like a factory visit to, say, Pediasure company. Now that's based out of Maharashtra. But then, of course, the whole working and the food processing unit of the Pediasure can be brought into the classroom on a virtual screen. So that is the kind of practical enhancement that we see. A little bit of a thing that whenever we teach even nutrition, biochemistry, so talking about, the various reactions and how one collides with the other can be actually be shown virtually in a 3D model on the screen. So it has made learning so interesting. So this is the best way to actually evolve education, because children in today's time, we all know that are pretty much distracted. Again, the reason being is the high sugar intake. That is a lot of, overstimulative diet that they consume. So because of that, the attention span for the students is slightly lesser. So in conjunction with that, to align their attention span, it always becomes very handy to bring in the virtual media into the classroom, and that gives a lot of meaning. So of course, there are multiple ways in which we can address the virtual world and bring that to the classroom. So we can do that one by one. So first, of course, the huge benefit that I see is the enhanced quality of education that we have because of the technology that we are incorporating. Okay, so as I had mentioned to you earlier, that teaching is actually going outside of the classroom and explained in a broader spectrum. So it is not just whenever we want to talk about, any kind of say even the benefits of say a certain food group, it is much more easier when it comes, you know, on the screen, and when it comes as when your brain is of course processing, your eyes are watching, you are feeling it, you can hear it. So it is all kind of, you know, senses being involved in that learning process. So the learning gains a lot of permanence. And that definitely is something which is very important. And then trainers and the teachers, they put together the blended learning approach in classroom for enhanced learning quality. So definitely it's very handy. You know, like when we take like, since I represent VLCC education, so here we have something called blended learning approach, as in we have got an application. So we have an app called blended learning that every student of ours downloads. Wherein of course like they get the usual classroom teaching, definitely. I mean that we have not taken that off the curriculum. So they go through that, you know, manual classroom teaching with the students, while at the same time we also have all my recorded videos as well. And in the recorded videos also, of course, of the classrooms teaching, so which are there with them handy on the app. So as and when, whether they're traveling in the train, or whether they're flying somewhere, or whether they're commuting from place A to B, they can always log into that application, put in their password or whatever, which is auto-generated, and they can watch all the videos. So that gives a very enhanced and a permanent way of learning, isn't it? I mean, like, it's always better that suppose if we have taught them, say, whatever chapter, suppose advanced physiology, reproductive system. So they always have that reproductive system on their application as well, which they can go through, and they can, of course, reiterate certain points. And if they've not understood, so they can decode that information on their screen. So it becomes like a blended learning approach. So this and that at the same time. So of course, the classroom teaching values we have not taken. I mean, I was very against taking the classroom teaching totally out, you know, like, and just putting it into the technology. No, we have incorporated both, and this has actually given very good results and outcome to all our students. So that, and then of course, it saves a lot of effort and time for better growth, as exposed teachers to put together a more comprehensive and updated knowledge, isn't it? For all of us, all of us as teachers in nutrition, or in any field for that matter, need to constantly update ourselves, because nutrition science is something which is evolving at a very, very fast pace. I mean, the same things that we had studied when I was doing my BSc in nutrition and MSc, that time we were not really highlighting on cancer and what is the reason, and the nutritional therapy for cancer and all of that. So when I did my BSc and MSc, it was more for the purpose to, you know, control the undernourishment in India. And it was not really for the purpose of, you know, like giving clinical diet therapies for comorbidities. You know, that was not the reason. So when I took admissions way back in 80s in the university, so now the whole scenario has totally changed. The dynamics of the nutrition is changing. There are multiple things that are coming around. We did not know about, you know, like moringa in that broader spectrum. When we have started using moringa to actually reverse multiple comorbidities, and now we see that there are more and more chemicals and, you know, bioactive ingredients that we've come to know of certain food products in today's time. So as teachers in nutrition and dietetics, especially in our field, we really need to keep updating ourselves. I mean, there's so much of, you know, psychology that is getting submerged into the nutrition science, with science and psychology coming together, and the metaphysics, the role it has to play, you know, in the consumption of food, etc. So all that is something we need to update ourselves all, otherwise we will be stuck in our old books itself, right? So that has become so rich now, with so much of technology coming into the scenario. And we can see all the journals, and we can read multiple researches. We all do that before having any kind of an presentation. So at a conference, you know, it's always better that we go through all the researches, the latest researches which are related to the subjects, which is the, you know, one of, I think, the key benefits of digitalization and technology in today's time. And we all have files and folders where we can actually refer to when it comes to, and giving students the latest and the best on that particular subject. So yeah, this is one of very big benefits, I feel. So we are able to give a more comprehensive, updated knowledge to our students. I mean, I see now that although, like I have been very, very blessed to be the direct disciple of Dr. C. Gopalan and Dr. Maya Chaudhary. They have been my close teachers. So the kind of, definitely with them, they were both old school, but the best in the industry. We all know that we still study Dr. C. Gopalan. So the education that was given to me, like they would write, I would write and rewrite, even if it was about vitamin B12. So I would just, the articles I had to give to them, I would type it on a typewriter, very old fashioned that time, but that is what we needed to do. And then you do it for days and days together. It was very, very hard because you cannot delete and it's not a Microsoft Word format of working, So it's like typing, and that becomes like a permanent thing. If there's any mistake that they would find out. So Dr. C. Gopalan actually beat me up like really hard in terms of he's made me, like what I am today. So every award that I get, I actually owe it to him. So anything we would write and he would tell that I had to retype it. So now we don't have to do that, right? I mean, when you're working in a say more, so to speak, like a Word format, a Microsoft Word format, you can just write it, delete it, edit a line, spell check, which is done automatically. So definitely it saves a lot of time for us, all of us, that we can utilize for the better reasons. Right. So definitely it saves time and effort for better growth, and teachers and trainers, all of us can put together more comprehensive. Then, of course, like more hologramic effect, that hologram, that 4D effect that we can project on the screen. That's very, very interesting way of learning, and which I've seen in some of the schools in Noida and Delhi, because I'm based out of Delhi only. So I've seen a lot of that holographic effect and that 4D coming into the classroom teaching in today's time, and it stays permanent. It's not that the teacher needs to keep making the PPTs, and once, like whatever has been made or projected, it stays safe in the file, and which can be used for the next classroom teaching again. So yeah, this is, I feel, a very, very blended learning way of having information. And then, of course, faster access to information. Isn't it? I mean, it is so wonderful that, I remember that when I was doing my master's, and I've done lots of researches after that. So after, I would actually sit in, so I've done it from Rajasthan Agriculture University, Udaipur. That is where I have done my BSc and MSc nutrition from. So I would sit in an R&T medical college till 9 o'clock in the night and kind of just make my notes and, get to learn more. So all those things, even in my throughout 90s and mid of 20s also, I felt that I needed to exert a lot of effort and travel time to access information. Even here, like in Delhi. So I love updating myself, because since I write the course book, so I have to keep editing them also. And every 6 months, some or the other subject, I'm always editing. I'm very restless that way. So for me to be getting that kind of an information, which is the best and the latest, for this, I have to actually very frequently, for years, I have visited AIIMS Hospital, where we have that ICMR building. The moment you enter, we have ICMR, and we have publication section, which is on the ground floor. So I have told all my students to keep visiting there, and I myself do that because I again need to update the latest researches and incorporate that as part of a learning curriculum. So that, and now everything is available online. You just have to go on that site, on Google. And of course, like Google says, but when you go to official sites of ICMR or NIN, like National Institute of Nutrition, everything is so accessible there. So I think it's a much faster access to information. If there's some research that has just come around maybe a week ago, and then you have it on your plate right there, which you can, of course, share it with your students. So this is, I feel that definitely the quality of education is much better. Students already know about the DNA diets and metabolic diets and all of that. Did we know that earlier in our times? No, nobody taught us. So it is only because of the access, because of the technology use that we have. Then, of course, very important one, is social media technology and a Google Scholar. So when we talk about taking information from the Google itself says, even in the Wikipedia, that do not use this as your official information because it has not been verified and authenticated by the experts. Okay, so people do. We see a lot of our students, sometimes even the teachers and professors, referring to the Google information as being very, very authentic, but it is not. Google, if we really want to use that information and get to know about more learning, we have a different site, or which is called Google Scholar, which is exclusively for people who are into teaching and trainings, for them to have a very clear access to authenticated and verified information, researches, articles, etc. So yeah, this is what is there. So on social media, like sometimes, so, we see our students being very, very hooked to social media. So I would say that social media is not something where we would get detailed information, but we do get a little gist of things, when experts talk on the social media, whether it is Facebook or Instagram or wherever. So, and of course, we also have an access to multiple conferences and events that are being held at multiple locations across the world. So that definitely becomes a platform. So directly, indirectly, that does contribute to our learning and growth, right? Because if I come to know there's a conference that is being held in London, okay, so I would definitely love to go and apply. Suppose it is on bariatric surgery, I would definitely love to go and attend that in London. Right. And that is how it is. If sometimes a bariatric surgery holds a lot of conferences here in Goa, so that the conference happening there. So we would want to go and learn. And sometimes, you go and so social media definitely helps us in our learning and growth for people who really want to keep themselves updated and who are good learners. And as teachers, professors, we are all like, this is there in our DNA. I mean, we have to be learning all the time, because we are the channel of imparting and giving a career shape to our students. So then when we talk about now resources for enhanced learning actually comes in from the Google Scholar. I don't know, many of you may not have logged in on that right now so far. But when you go on that Google Scholar, we see that, you will definitely find it very, very value adding to your curriculum and to the topics that you want to know more about, and about the latest of the, things and the latest researches being incorporated into that. So yeah, resources for enhanced learning is definitely something which is the Google Scholar. And then it provides a very simple way to broadly search for scholarly literature. Like you can actually fine tune it to finding exactly that what you need to. Suppose you really want to know more about, say, RS, which is resistant starch, which is of so much value today because India being diabetic capital of the world, we want to give people food which has a lot of resistant starch. How does it work in the intestinal pathways and in the metabolic pathways? So if you really want to, like fine tune to just finding that about the RS, that is resistant starch, we get like 100 articles on that, and they are all verified and they are authentic and all of that. So Google has come up with this Google Scholar, which is actually a boon to us. So we can actually refer to them, especially when we want to find something latest and the best. So we have to go on this. We have to search on the Google scholar.google.com, and information comes from there, from verified sources, of course, and in multiple. And there are lots of theses, which are available there for reference as well. So the papers are there, the research papers are there, the theses are also there. So you've seen all of that on that. So yeah, that becomes like a very good learning point and touch point for all of us, because we are into the teaching line. And the tagline of the Google Scholar is something that I really like, and that tagline itself is "Stand on the shoulders of giants," because it has researchers from the who's who in the industry. And that's how we get to learn from the bigwigs. So I always love that tagline, which is there of the Google Scholar, it's a stand on the shoulder of the giants, so that is how we can enhance our learning. And then, of course, the next topic is the digitalization of our laboratories. So we have, all of us, I think, who've been into nutrition, dietetics, and all of that, we have spent a lot of time in our labs. I have burnt a lot of my hands, by the acids and all of that. So when we talk about the digital labs, that is giving the labs a digital infrastructure. So we had recently taken our students for cookies and a biscuit factory visit, because I really wanted them to know, because everybody's so much into the biscuit consumption these days. And we all know that, no matter what, the biscuit might be an oats cookie or whatever they say, whole grain cookie. At the end of the day, all of us know that it is refined flour. So, of course, like oats could be added as 5%, 10% or whatever of the total flour. But then at the end of the day, it is that Then, of course, this has been there on the text that the soda, the baking soda that they use in the commercial industry is not sodium bicarbonate. It is always ammonium bicarbonate. And we all know that ammonia is something which is toxic to the body, is acidic, and in our liver, it is converted into urea because your body cannot hold ammonia for a very long time. And whatever little ammonia which is not converted to urea also is excreted through our urine, right? So urea is the less toxic form. It's only the ammonia which is converted to urea. And here we are consuming ammonia. So we don't realize chai ke saath India mein biscuits lete, okay? And it is such a common thing for people. And we as diet consultants or as nutritionists have been harping out loud and telling people that, to kind of cut down the consumption of the baked products, commercial baked products. So this is the reason we did the visit to a very, very popular biscuit factory. I would like to name that. And huge. They are one of the biggest exporters from India to the outside world, outside India, one of the biggest exporters, that biscuit factory. And of course, like the hygiene issues, which we don't know of. So just wanted to take all our students to visit that biscuit factory. I normally personally don't go, but then I really wanted to because I just wanted all our students to, we were 200 of us in 2 batches. So I went with batch number 1 in the morning. And the moment we entered that biscuit factory, we saw so many rodents running around, that is the rats, okay? And there was maida stacked one over the other, and all of them had holes. So one of the students asked that, faculties had asked that why these holes are. They said, no, we just test the refined flour, just to test the quality. And although we could see the rodents running here and there, then we went to the second section where they were mixing the dough and they were taking the biscuits out on the conveyor belt kind of a place. So we saw that again, hygiene was hugely compromised. And then we went to the next section where we all became totally dizzy. And it was that aroma of, that the baking soda that they use, it's not sodium bicarbonate as what we use in the house. It was ammonium bicarbonate. And when it was getting into the baking unit, there were ammonia fumes all over. And that dizziness that happened to us lasted for about 2 days. I could not go to work for 2 days, and none of the students could also come, and made us very dizzy. And imagine we're eating all that, okay? And very popular brand. And now after that, we went to the nutrient evaluation section, okay, where there was one bomb calorimeter kept. And of course, there was a digital machine. So since in our weight management course, we do have, I have mentioned a topic on bomb calorimeter to evaluate the energy and all that. So I wanted all the students to see, and I thought that, okay, so then we had a tour guide with us throughout that biscuit factory thing. And when he opened the bomb calorimeter, of course, it had lots of cobwebs in there. So which obviously means because it's an old school technology and obviously people must not be using, totally understandable. And then, of course, like I asked him that we keep it. He said, no, it is a government norm that we have to keep it. So I didn't know about that government norm. So maybe it was. And then finally, like the way, so our students wanted to learn about that, how to know about the exact nutritional value of each cookie that they had seen. And then we actually used the digital machine, which was there. And the digital machine, they just had to put in some, like 10 grams of that dough or that biscuit inside. And, like all the nutrient parameters actually reflected on the screen, from calories to you name, like even the trace minerals, that was reflected on the screen, that 10 grams of the biscuit has all these. So you could actually multiply with the a weight of the biscuit and give the calorific value and all the nutrient values of that particular thing. So this is what has given us. So in our times, we were using a lot of the bomb calorimeter because that is what we did in our labs. Now, digitalization is something else. Okay, so digitalization would mean that now nobody needs to sweat. If you really want to know how much is the lead which is present, so you can just put in your food there and it will give you the, like value of the lead, and like a pathological report, it will also tell you that these are the normal values and this is how much the food has. So, this kind of a benefit that we have when we kind of really talk about the digitalization of the lab, for which we used to work endlessly and hours together. And even then the results were not very accurate or meticulous. So this is, of course, like very important. Now, what I was earlier talking to you about is the VR and the AR technology. This is the technology which, even the schools are using these days to teach to the students. And virtual reality, that is attending the virtual classes, gives them a very immersive learning experience, definitely with the use of the VR glasses and joystick controllers. So what it has is like, some of the schools that I've been to, so they have this whole digital lab where they have the VR screen, and on that screen they you just have to wear the glasses and everything becomes like a 3D effect. I'm sure like bachpan mein we had all seen the movies with the 3D or humko wo chashma pehna padta tha. So now this is the kind of a learning. So if you really want, say, a Yakult factory visit, so you just sit there with those glasses and you get all the 4D kind of features out there, that how food goes in from this pipe to this. I'm sure that all of us must have visited the Yakult factory and we've seen that there is hardly any manual touch there, even otherwise. Okay, so what's the point of going all the way 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers to the factory and seeing it, although it is in, very close to Delhi NCR region. But then, and what about the students sitting in Hyderabad and Mumbai? They would never be able to see it because this is here only at one place, Sonipat in India. So now we can actually get into that and show it on the screen. And with the virtual glasses, where the moment you wear the glasses, everything becomes like a 4D. So it becomes a very, very immersive learning experience. And then you also have the joystick controllers, in the sense that you're holding some kind of a joystick, other like how I would say, like a remote, that you have something like a joystick or a remote in your hand. And if you really want to kind of amplify something on the screen that you really want to see, so you can do that as well. And this is used in the classroom. Of course, the children are using a lot of the virtual games these days. I mean, they have these 4G projectors and all of that, but the same thing can be used for the learning process, already being used at multiple places, with the joystick controller. So it definitely gives, once you see anything like this, it stays. It is very immersive learning experience and it stays in the head, like always. So this gives an enhanced learning. And of course, now we have an augmented reality, where the real world meets the virtual reality. So we've heard about, Elon Musk coming out with a chip, the microchip that can be installed and all that. That will be coming later, maybe end of this year. That is what they've said. But otherwise also, like in the pro learning scenarios, we've seen that in the labs, they have augmented reality, in the sense that suppose everybody is sitting and they can, that's an imaginary screen being made just because you're wearing those glasses. And imagine it, it's not like, for us, it would be imaginary. If you take off the glasses, it would be imaginary. But when so everybody is seeing that same screen. So the computer technology has been advanced to that extent, where, so definitely it gives a lot of, benefits. Like even when it is to do this, how it says, the digestion of the food. Now we have multiple videos where they have made it virtually, which is not real, as to how the food is going from mouth and coming out in anus, and especially in the jejunum area, how the absorption happens, what happens within the villi, how does that the blood capillaries on the other end of the alimentary canal look like, what do they function, how does acid produce, how does the stomach contract, where peristalsis is more enhanced and where it is lesser, what happens in the intestines, so how does the cleaning of the intestine happens. So all those things through virtual reality, now it has become so real. And once the student has seen it, so we've been talking so much about say in the alimentary canal, as an example, I'll give to you. So there's something called motor migratory complex. I'm sure all of us know about that. So motor migratory complex is the housekeeping system of the intestine. That starts getting activated only about 90 to 120 minutes after we have eaten our last meal. Okay. Now that housekeeping ka kaam hota hai safai. They are all safai karmchari. They are cleaning the alimentary canal. So that MMC, how it releases and how it takes care of the small particles that are adhered to the alimentary canal in the jejunum area and in the colon area. So, like How do we study that? We will, you know, like if you're actually reading it from the book, we will be reading it, okay, this is the work of the MMC, and so that's why. So earlier पहले क्या होता था, हम लोग बोलते थे कि खाना जल्दी जल्दी खाओ, small meals में. अभी तक हमने यही पढ़ा है ना, that खाना every 2 hours try and give some food to this thing, it will keep your metabolic rate high and all of that. Now with the advent of the MMC complex, you know, like coming so, you know, like openly and into our learning process, now it says that give a gap, you know, between your this meal to the next meal. That is if you've eaten your lunch at around 1:30 to 2. Now we want अब सारा खाना like जब absorptive stage आ गई और post absorptive stage अब आ गई, which normally takes 2.5 to 3 hours. Sometimes when you've eaten a heavy meal तो 3-3.5 घंटे लगते हैं, है ना? सो 3-3.5 घंटे में सारा खाना आपका डाइजेस्ट हो गया, पोस्ट एब्जॉर्प्टिव स्टेज में चला गया, और जो whatever had to go to the large intestine area has gone there. So now the MMC would release, okay, motor migratory complex, and now it will clean the total intestine. But what people do is they eat again. अब वो 2.5 घंटा हुआ है खाना खाने में, अभी चाय पी लिया, ठीक है, अब वो कब काम करेगा MMC? अगर खाना खा लिया अब नहीं निकलेगा, you know, तो उसका जो पूरा प्रोसेस होता है दिखाने का, that how MMC works, this will give a very good kind of a dietary lifestyle also to people. They will not be eating every 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. Okay, they will give some gap. They'll give at least about 2.5 घंटा आपको खाना खाए हो गया, उसके बाद 1 घंटा दो अभी अपने इंटेस्टाइन को, let MMC do its job. Okay, now it has totally cleansed off your intestine. Now you can have your chai or whatever you wanted to have, or if you wanted to eat something. Liquids of course flow very fast in the alimentary canal, but solid ko to time lagta hai na. So this is the kind of learning now we can show to our students, that you know how through the virtual digital media, that how post absorptive stage, how are your intestines getting cleaned up. So this was just as an example. So now even the students who are seeing this and listening to this and watching it into a 4D effect, by being there in the intestine, okay, they are there in the jejunum area, you know, the vision is going right there, because that is how they are projected and the video is being made. And now they would know that, okay, this is how it works. And each time when they're eating a meal, every 1.5, they're eating something, they would not want to. So they are also improving their own health and their lifestyle, because they know how the whole system works. So this is how nutrition is evolving, right? For the longest time, all of us have always known that, you know, this is how it works. So then whatever we learn, we follow. Whenever we see some kind of a learning, like, so now I know that, okay, now MMC learns, so I don't want to have something. Even if somebody comes with a piece of mithai an hour after I've eaten my food, I don't eat it. I will keep it. I'll say that I'll have it later. Okay, so this also will improve the health scenario, because the students would know about more, and once they've seen it virtually, the learning is more immersive and more permanent, because that's how the conscious and subconscious mind works. So we have the neocortex, the frontal brain, that is holding all the information and reasoning and logical and all of that. So that really gets enhanced when we have this kind of an audio visual kind of a learning that we see in the screen. And not just from that, by going inside, the cameras being put inside, you know, that's how they're shot. I mean, there are ways the technology is taking the cameras inside the alimentary canal and seeing that, okay, how do things work, and how bad is the ulceration or whatever, even to detect diseases. So yeah, I mean, like this virtual reality and augmented reality, I think very, very handy way. And of course, very important something is also that virtual learning, you know, or technology in today's time is economically very viable. I mean, it saves a lot of money and time, and not just money, but economically, so definitely. So you know that for all of us, I remember, like, you know, when in the late 90s, when I had to, so for us, Robinson and Lawler and Cross and Mahan, these are our Bibles. Okay, they were our gurus, and these are Bibles to us. So I had to buy Robinson and Lawler. I had to go and buy a second-hand one that actually costed me 18,000 rupees that time. And even Cross and Mahan, very, very expensive. Okay, but today, in today's time, I still refer to those books. But in today's time, I have the digital copies of this. I've got the soft copies and the PDFs of those books, which someone has given to me. I was quite surprised myself that how do you get like for free of cost? You know, so I have those books on my drive right now, and I keep there for references. So isn't it very, very economically viable? I've saved some good, whatever, 40,000 now. They must be more because I've not even bothered to check what is the price of those books now. But then, yes, I have the PDFs and I can refer to them whenever I want to. So there are some amazing books and content that are there with us in our files and folders that we keep. So definitely we are saving on a lot of cost, while at the same time we can buy, I mean, like we can keep more, read more number of books now, isn't it? When you're making a physical library in your house and at office. So I have a library in my office. I also have a library at my home, which is all nutrition related books, because I'm, like majorly into education. So I have to keep reading them and referring to them for different things. So, I mean, like now I have so many, there is no space constraint. I have them in my drive on my Gmail and I keep them there. I don't even keep them on my soft copy, like there on the mail. And so now there are multiple number of books that I'm able to conjure and kind of really keep it in my files and folders. So definitely my knowledge is also getting enhanced, while at the same time, I'm not paying for them. And I have access. There could have been space constraint. You can only keep some 50 books in your office. You cannot keep more than that, right? So now there is no space constraint and you can keep hundreds and hundreds, whatever researches and articles, I immediately save them on my drive. So definitely very, very technology is making education and this very, very viable, economically viable also. And then of course saves the travel cost for conferences and classes like we're doing today. I mean, I'm not even there in the city right now, okay, but we can connect. All of you are sitting in different offices. I don't know if you all are sitting in different parts of the country or whatever. It really doesn't matter, right? And even if it is like we're sitting, all of us, suppose we're sitting in the same city, we can air it live to different, multiple locations across the globe. It is not just in India. I mean, there's so many conferences during COVID that I'd done. All of them were international conferences, all those universities which are outside of the country. And, whether it was tourism industry, and I remember, so, our reachability is also, and we don't have to travel there anymore. So definitely it saves the cost, travel cost and the time also, which we can utilize for better purpose. So there's so much more that we can do. I mean, like in every which way, we all need time for our homes. We need time for our children. We need time for ourselves, me time, which so many of us don't get. We need time for our fitness. Very, very important, because we are all from the field of nutrition and dietetics. So we are the role models for people. So we need time for our fitness as well. I mean, I got so much time after COVID when the Zoom thing came, because I take care of 105 institutes in India. And for me, it was so much of a travel time. Whenever there was any kind of a conference or a seminar or anything, even it was a 2-hour lecture, I had to fly down to those places. But now we can do it virtually. I mean, like over the Zoom call. So isn't it a great time-saving technology? And reaching out to larger group of people and larger spectrum of people from all across and all ages and all of that. So yeah, definitely saves the travel cost and, for the conferences and classes. And then reduces practical cost, isn't it? I mean, like even the practicals that we do, the digitalization actually reduces a lot of practical cost, like even here, all of us, we all have the logbooks and attendance. So, at VLCC, we do it all digitally. In fact, in multiple universities now, it's not done manually. So you just have to open an app and you put in the initials. The students are filling up their attendance themselves. So the teachers are not even bothered to do all of that. They don't need to know. Why should they? So it's already fed in, and what class is that also is done digitally. We have no manual intervention as of now at VLCC. We don't do anything manually. I mean, attendance, some of my faculties are taking, a couple of them might be taking manually, but we do it on the blended learning application. And even if somebody wants me to come for a conference, suppose there's some event happening in Kochi right now in Kerala, and they want me to be there for that conference, or even if it is some, like a press conference where I need to go and talk. So I see it on an app called vPulse that we have here. So the request goes there. From there, the mail gets floated to me that they are asking for my available dates and time, and this is the event and all of that. So even that phone call is unnecessary now. We don't even make that phone call. So it saves so much of a mental peace, because we live in this chaotic world where we already have like 1,000 things on the plate, and hardly able to manage half of them effectively. This is the reason why stress is happening to people. So now that stress is gradually reducing and we can have more time on our hands for better things. Okay, so this is something that is there. So definitely reduces all that practical cost and information availability free of cost. I think it's a very big thing that any kind of an information, any research that happens or any new topic that we like to speak to, you know, I personally in my organization, I do a lot of Instagram and Facebook lives on different topics. You know, when I feel that people really have this vitamin B12 deficiency, because of which, you know, neurologically they are affected big time and they're not even aware, or if somebody who's, you know, struggling to lose weight, now I need to tell them that, you know, magnesium they need to take, because that's again like 80% of India is low on magnesium, and I really want to tell them that, you know, please start your magnesium glycinate or something, some supplement, because, you know, that and vitamin D3 are the reasons why somebody is kind of really not able to lose the body fat. So body fat, you know, when the calcium level goes low, and when vitamin D3 goes low, because of which the calcium level goes low also. Okay, and magnesium supplement. So this is something we need to start in people if they are extremely deficient, because of which the weight is stuck and they're not able to. And not just that, you know, the stress level increases multifold when the moment you go low on magnesium and vitamin D3 and all that. How do I put it across to India or everywhere else? So when I know that, okay, these are the reasons, because multiple people we see and we have the subject analysis and all that. I mean, like subjects as in people. So the same person who's not been losing body fat for a while, and when you put them on magnesium glycinate and vitamin D3 supplement, after a while, you see that, you know, they're much more happier. That is, even the mental and emotional health is getting better and better, while at the same time, they start responding well in their body. The energy level becomes better and all of that. And of course, the, all the bone issues that people have also. So majorly, we know that calcium deficiency, generally, it's not really so much to do with calcium. It is generally vitamin D3, because vitamin D3 is vitamin till it is outside. The moment it gets inside your body, it becomes calcitrol, right? I mean, like calcitriol. So that's a hormone. So when calcitriol levels have to be normal for calcium to be totally taken in by the body and managed. So all of that is something which, all this information, how do we take to the world? We can only take it, through social media, or it could be through a Zoom call. So this is again the biggest use of technology. So people can log in. So, you know, information on the Facebook, Instagram, or whatever social media stays. You know, it will stay. So even if one cannot attend it today, they can, of course, access it later, and they can keep hearing and listening to it again and again if they want to. If there are certain sometimes technical names that we use, you know, so for students, it is such an enhanced learning, isn't it? Earlier, we did not. I mean, if the teacher taught a lesson once, you know, it would never be repeated. And then we would have to sit in the library and access it. Now it's not like that. So, you know, all the medias and technologies holding that information. And so you can reach out to larger masses and let them know how to improve their nutritional and the health status. And we in India need it more. We are a developing country and we produce the best computer technologies, you know, like we have the best of engineers from the IT coming around. I see that even in our organization, I'm sure that even in yours, we have the best of IT people, and they are brilliant and geniuses. And kind of, you know, constantly evolving the technology and its use into the education. So yeah, I mean, this is something which is very good, very nice. And then we have collaborative learning, you know, so in multiple of our conferences, we have people sitting in from Australia, people sitting in from India, people sitting in from US, UK, and then, you know, like holding a conference there. Isn't it such an amazing way to learn? We have the best in the industry from all over the globe talking about that one topic. So, you know, when in the last week of December, again, as an example, in the last week of December, we knew that this year, 2023, is the International Year of Millets, hai na? And it was India who was carrying the flag of it. You know, I'm sure that you all must have seen that conference, because we had all got the invite, you know, like all people who were into nutrition got an invite to, it was being held in Sweden. Okay, and it was a European conference, so that is where it was being held. But of course, like we were connected on the Zoom, and the Zoom link was given to all of us, and I ensured that me and my entire team of faculties, we all attended that call, the launch of International Year of Millets. And like, so we heard from the bigwigs of all over the globe who have been championing nutrition and have been great research scientists, and in the same forum, there are almost 10 people who had spoken in that 90-minute of a conference. It was 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. And we heard from the best researchers and scientists who were almost like retired, but they were all there. And of course, India was major. India majorly got in representation there in that conference in Sweden. We saw so many sari-clad research scientists going in from ICMR and FAO, and so many Indians who were there. And the ministers from India were there. They were representing, and because millets majorly is something that is pronounced from our country. We don't value it so much here, but the world does. So there are multiple things like turmeric, curcumin. We don't value it here, but all the nations across the borders, they do. Ginger, for that matter, people value that more, and we have started valuing quinoa for that matter. So it is like, I think, this is what has been. So India produces the most amazing food when it comes to the nutritional values. The types of pulses and legumes, we literally have like more than 540 of them. So how do we access this information now? This is such a collaborative learning that we get to learn from the best in the industry. And, in that conference was one example where, and there are, of course, multiple conferences that we all keep attending from time to time, where we see that, different people speak. I mean, this is a collaborative learning as well, all of us together. So you're all sitting in your office, I'm sitting in my office. We have different speakers coming over the course of a day. Like there were speakers yesterday, and there are speakers today. Before me, there was somebody. After me, there's going to be, experts talking on different topics. I think this is the best use of technology. Otherwise, how would we get an access to it? I mean, we don't personally know people, but we can learn from them, and we all learn from each other. Even if it is like, we might know 99% of the things that the other speaker is speaking, but maybe we don't know that 1%, and that 1% we can amplify that and kind of really put it into our head and bring it to use. Okay, so that is how beautiful it is. And, like collaborative learning is again something. So recently I did, so I keep studying also all the time, I've been in the industry for many, many years now, but I love learning. So there was an NLP program, that the course that I did, not related so much to nutrition and dietetics, but I could do it because it was collaborative learning. There were multiple people who had come in, who were talking about neuro-linguistic programming. And I was very keen on doing that course. Now, I couldn't have. Now, I'm other than nutrition, like I'm also Tony Robbins' protege, his direct disciple. Tony Robbins is the best life coach in the world. Okay, very expensive person. So now to do a course with him earlier, so for almost 10 years, I've been trying my best to get my teachings from Tony Robbins in person. Okay, but I knew that for that I have to go to US, because he does most of his he's an American, so he does most of his programs in the US, and he has a 5-day course, and and which costs 4.5 lakhs, and then of course you have to pay for your own hotel and stay and all that. So that 5-day course is also again very immersive, morning to night. So now technology and digitalization here has brought Tony Robbins into my, like drawing room. And I did 4 of his courses ever since technology and digitalization in learning has come, and one after the other, because I don't miss out on any of his courses. So it was so easy for me. And of course, again, on his course, he brings around all the bigwigs in the world. They could be, whosoever, the who's who in the industry, how they could achieve what they have achieved in their life. What are the tools they use? What are the key learnings that they have learned, that they have applied it in their life? And they have, so everything, he brings so many people on the table in that 5-day of the immersive learning experience. I would never have been half of the person I am today had it not been for technology and digitalization. That has made me better as a person, So when that Zoom thing came about a few years ago, initially there was a reluctance in all of us, especially people, all of us who've been into old school, so I mean, learning new things becomes so, but then when you learn also, it's very important. We know that our brain has hippocampus, and basis the learning and the exercise that we do every day, it is constantly producing new neurons. पहले हमारी साइंस ही बोलती थी ना कि उम्र के साथ साथ आपके न्यूरल इफेक्ट कम हो जाता है, and your neurons degenerate and all of that. So now the new sciences, as long as you continue to learn and you exercise on a daily basis for minimum 30 minutes, your hippocampus in the brain will keep producing new and new neurons, and your BDNF, that is brain derived neurotrophic factor, that will keep, removing all the stresses and strains, in terms of its effect in the neurological system. So that is what we have learned, and then, applying it. So it is, learning is something which is totally evolving, and it is so much fun to learn on different aspects. I mean, NLP is not my core subject, but I can apply it, when I'm teaching to the others. At the end of the day, we want people to be healthy, happy, and at peace. This will only come when we integrate all this information together. So that is how it is like. So yeah, I mean, integrative or collaborative learning from different experts, from people all over the world, is something that comes into our offices and into our classrooms, and we can bring the same to, to our students as well. So yeah, that is something. Then again, use of drones. I hope I'm not overshooting time. It's 12:30. Okay. So use of drones. Now, this is again something that we, even in the food processing and the food science or food technology, drones are being used to capture the images of the entire, the factory for that matter, or the steps and quality management in food processing. Okay, we did not have drones earlier. Now the cameras are installed within the drones and they capture the images, so we get it so much with accuracy. So that's again something that, it also provides the satellite imagery of the things, that how land, the fertility of the land also it can gauge, the drones can. So this is so beautiful, and then it says that it can be used to capture the food processing images I just mentioned. And then it says professional and amateurs alike can take advantage of the impressive capabilities of the camera drones. So it's very, in fact, drones can also tell us when we are doing the researches with the very minute things within the lab setup. It can help us to become very, a movement of the fingers can be controlled by the drones as well. They are fitted into our fingers, this is how people are using. And then it says that drone photography is no longer something new, but rather is taking on new dimensions. So, we're using it more and more in the learning process, and all these virtual learnings that we can incorporate into the classroom teaching, they are mostly being shot by drones. And this is like a very, very big advantage. And then, of course, use of computerized software. So yesterday I was lucky enough, my day got missed. I thought my session was yesterday, somehow just a gap in the dates because I had to travel today and so on. So, but then, I think Sandhya was taking the session on the dietary part in the hospital setup as to how they use the clinical diets, and the AI with the incorporation of the artificial intelligence. So I got to listen to the last 5 to 7 minutes of that. And I was pretty impressed by the way people are using artificial intelligence into giving the clinical diets to multiple patients who have multiple comorbidities, in the hospital setup. So yeah, I mean, we have multiple computerized softwares that we use today. Even otherwise, which makes, which stores the information of the nutrients, the antioxidants, and the benefits of the food. So recently I was there at the Ahmedabad office where one of our alumni students came to me, and especially came to meet me, and he wanted to show me the app that he has made. And he's a diet consultant, and he holds, he's also the owner of a gym and all of that. So he said that now I've made this application where all the information is already pre-fed, and he's taken the ICMR and NIN values. Okay, so he's fed in there. and he just like kind of makes a diet, and it will give the entire nutritional value of the entire meal planning of the meal of the entire day's meal. And so with so much of a precision that because he's a dietetic student, so he could actually collaborate the information when he did it manually and he did on the app, and it did not have too much of an error. I mean, the minimum error possible. So that is how we can use the artificial intelligence. Now, people don't have to like when all of us had done our dietetics practical, we know that to make a single diet plan, we would actually take like some 2.5 to 3 hours, because you have to calculate the like all the nutrients and minerals and this and that, and vitamins, and how much vitamin is this. So it would actually take a lot of time, and again there would be error, because obviously manual errors are there whenever we are doing any kind of a calculation. So now AI, you just make that diet plan and it will give you the exact nutritional values. Now, therapeutic diet charts, which of course, like Sandhya spoke about yesterday, it is so meticulous when we use the artificial intelligence, that for somebody suffering from an inflammatory disease or something like a rheumatoid arthritis, if there's a diet chart made for that, it will give you precisely the list that these are the antioxidants which are present, because it's all digitalized now. So that is the best way to actually store information and use it, in our daily lives. And of course, calculate, the AI also helps us in calculation for drawing the inferences in research methodology. That is whenever we do any statistical analysis, which is part of our researches. So we need to, I remember that when I was doing my research, it was so difficult in those times, like when you're manually doing it, to kind of statistical analysis, then we had to go to a statistician. I had to take an appointment from him and kind of go there and, sit with him. And then one appointment mein theek se nahi aaya, phir dobara gaye. Matlab mera statistical analysis mein, I took over 15 days. It was not even, it was coefficient correlation that I needed to do. And it took so much of a time. Now it is nothing. The data you can feed in whatever research that the data that we've collected, and then we we can quickly find out the correlation. So that is a very big advantage for everybody being into researchers at that level. And then, of course, the next one, the effectiveness of the software program for computing nutrient intake for research and education purposes, identifying nutrient excesses. That also I heard from Sandhya yesterday, and deficiencies, and teaching food composition to varied audiences. This is so easy these days, like with artificial intelligence, because everything is pre-fed and you can keep editing that information and that knowledge. नहीं तो अभी तक क्या होता था, किताबें आती हैं और उसमें मतलब अभी दोबारा से फिर से आरडीए चेंज हो गया है, ठीक है। अब मैंने अपने सारे बुक्स में 2020 का आरडीए डाला हुआ है, ठीक है। अब वो बुक्स तो अभी परमानेंट रहती है ना, दे आर हार्ड कॉपीज, यू कांट डू। हाँ, वो सारी बुक्स खत्म होंगी, उसके बाद देन आई एम गोइंग टू डू माय बिट ऑफ एडिटिंग, so like we are talking these days so much about antioxidants and phytochemicals, है ना, like even for cancer control and cancer cure, we've been talking so much about the phytochemicals, which are the colors and flavors present in fruits and vegetables. Now, we did have a chapter on antioxidants. We all have, right? But उसको बहुत ज्यादा अहमियत देके उसको प्रोजेक्ट करना और एम्पलीफाई करके to give our students a very value added chapter, because that is the key in today's time, right? Because we are full of the toxic world when you talk about endogenous toxins or exogenous toxins coming into our body. Body के अंदर से भी toxins है, body के बाहर से भी आ रहे हैं, खाने से, पानी से, इधर से उधर से. तो constant toxic consumption हो रहा है हमारी body के अंदर, है ना? So the world says, everybody, now we know that it is phytochemicals. We have to start using more colors and flavors in our fruits and vegetables. So when we do that, but we need to take this information to the students. Now in the book, what happens is that we are not able to. अब एक बार में suppose 1000 textbooks छप गई है, तो अब तो वो हो गई, अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता, वो 1000 खत्म होंगी ना, अब उनको वो 2020 वाला आरडीए ही करना पड़ेगा। और अब मेरे पास 2022 मतलब 23 वाला जो अभी आरडीए में जो एडिट्स हो गया है, वो वाला आ गया है, ठीक है। हाउ डू आई ब्रिंग इट अबाउट? अगर मेरे पास सॉफ्ट कॉपी ऑफ द बुक होती, सो वी ऑल्सो ऑपरेट लाइक हियर इन आवर इंडस्ट्री, वी ऑल्सो ऑपरेट एज द सॉफ्ट कॉपीज ऑल्सो, सो आई कैन मेक एडिट्स इन द सॉफ्ट कॉपी नाउ. दैट इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ बीइंग डिजिटल. had it been just the hard copy, now I can't do anything. अभी भी हमारे पास 500 textbooks पड़ी हुई हैं सारे modules और courses की, can't do anything about it. अब वो तो पूरा ही पैसा waste होगा if I'm making the edits there. Who will take the old books right now? But then we have told our students that please refer to the edited versions as a soft copy. So which is again like something which is a huge thing for all of us. Yeah. So we can, that is one benefit of digitalization and ebooks that people have today, and whatever edits we need to make can easily be done. So we can bring the best on the table for our students. Yeah, and then it says the speed of calculation has allowed nutrient analysis to be used more frequently in education and counseling settings. है ना, कोई manual calculation नहीं है. वैसे भी हम सबकी maths इतनी कोई great होती नहीं है. So it was always that, you know, we had to use statistical analysis for various. So now we can use a lot of statistics like correlation करने के लिए, that how birth weight of the baby is correlated to the nutrient intake in the mothers. And then it was found out that if the hemoglobin level of the mother is good, you know, if it is above 11 throughout the 9 months, then the outcome of the pregnancy, that is the birth weight of the child, is better. So multiple such correlations need to be made in all the researches to make them more meaningful and of use and value to us. So this is benefit for us. And again, like multimedia menu planning software, you know, that allows. So it says that it's a library of recipes, okay, that it holds. So there are multiple softwares that holds library of recipes. You just want to put in, suppose you want to put in avocado, okay, you will have like literally 40 to 50 recipes of avocado coming around. Or you just say, even if it is legumes, even if it is like kidney beans or rajma, so there will be so many recipes of that rajma, or, you know, like whatever, the kidney beans coming on your screen. That makes life so much more easier, isn't it? So that's what it says, that, you know, so we can search through the library of multiple recipes. We can create menus and the shopping lists, which are digital. So everything is becoming so easy. Find nutrition information and use graphics, musics, and animations in this field. So this is how we've been seeing the software. So, you know, making education so interesting, easy, easily understandable, and viable. Okay, then of course, like there are multiple computer programs to assess the nutritional status of the patients, charting medical records, you know, teaching patients about diet and disease, growth monitoring, that how well is it going, and then putting all this information together for various health and medical professionals. So for the healthcare people like us, and also for the medical professionals. So we don't need to, you know, itna paper use kam hota ja raha hai aajkal, that literally we don't need those. So it's a lot of saving of the stress of time and money and all of that, you know, conjuring somebody going to get an A4 size sheet and we writing, and then we are making an Excel sheet, taking the printout, entering the information there. Nothing. It's all there on the screen in your patient list, and we can just chart all the details of our patients and everything there, and kind of use it, which of course we learned yesterday when Sandhya so beautifully had taken the session, and with all the, you know, like analysis and diet plans and, you know, all the Excel sheets that she had displayed on the screen. So there was a lot of learning that I got to know myself, you know, that that's how, what they do in the hospital, because none of us are really working in the hospital setup right now. So it is such a collaborative learning for all of us as well. So then, of course, technology integration, or it says that integrating technology into teaching can really enhance the engagement. You know, नहीं तो फिर थोड़ा redundant होने लग जाता है, because attention span इतना कम होता है आजकल लोगों का. I mean, like people are not able to listen for such a long period of time. So it becomes like a more enhanced engagement and provide interactive learning experiences. So at one point of time, you know, we can address, we can learn, we can ask question and answers in any which ways. Like even if suppose like today someone sitting in Chennai wants to ask me a question, okay, so we have an application where that question will go on the app, the student posts it, and it will be redirected to me by default, you know, if it is addressed to me. This is what the software brings. So any student now, I have become so accessible to people. Earlier I wasn't, till the time we did not have all this technology and into the education system. I wasn't accessible. I would have loved to be. I love spending time with the students, you know, but then how to reach out based out of Delhi. Of course, when you manually have to travel. Now, if they have any concern or anything to do with the RDAs or anything to ask with the food exchange list or something, or even if it is like most of the questions are from the therapeutics, that if this is the clinical condition, what kind of a thing, what are your suggestions? So these kind of things directly come to me now, which is so good, So I'm very, very happy with giving my advice to our students who are sitting in multiple locations. And since we have learning in the online and offline mode, so we don't have students who are restricted only in India. We have students who are all over. So we learn even our graduation programs are accessible. We have all programs in the online and offline mode. So I think we are pretty much making the use of technology to the best of our ability, and constantly getting better and better of it. The marketing is, I think, scoring a lot, with the advent of the digitalization, because the digital marketing has become so much of an in thing also. So it is for them. But then, of course, for us, through digital marketing, learning becomes very, very easy, isn't it? I mean, they post some kind of an article, which I may have given to them. Okay, say on an apple a day keeps the doctor away, as simple as that. Now, in our industry, we all need to know, why do we even use this phrase? Why do we say that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? So we need to know that, yes, an apple contains 9,000 plus phytochemicals in that single 80 gram or 100 gram thing, one fruit. Okay. We need to know of the most popular phytochemicals which are present in the apple that can even work like a chemotherapy when somebody is inflicted with cancer. Of course, along with the other medications and the treatments that one would be taking. So how do we bring that on the table for the world, right? So digital marketing. So they are also using that technology. They extract the content. My marketing division is using me like anything, So they're constantly extracting content from me. I give it to them and they finally process it further. So that's also an enhanced way of learning. So which is actually really beautiful. So yeah, I mean, like as we get more and more, this is all the points that I have seen being used and I could think of that I have put in on my slide. And so this is the thank you slide. So thank you so much. So this is all that we use, all of us, still learning, because these are all new things. While we may have got educated in previous years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, when we did our MPhils and PhDs or masters or graduation. So for us, it's a good learning. And I think all of us, should extend our hand forward and get to learn more and more and update ourselves, even in technology, not just on a subject, because subject enhancement will also happen when we have enhanced technology, like technological skills happening, like learning new things and knowing how to operate and all of that. So yeah, that's it about us. That's it from my table. Thank you so much. Anything you all want to add or share, please do. If I've left any point that you think that we need to know of, so you can share. Yes, Dr.
Thank you
Lakshita,
so
over
much,
to you.
ma'am. And it's a time for Q&A. So we can cover like a question from Dhananjay Sharma. He's saying it's very informative and wonderful session. And I want to ask that every day in the news just coming the false reading of the nutritive value of the reputed company food products, then how much we rely on the nutrient content about the foods, because every food products are authenticated by a government parameter.
Yes, so you have to go on the authentic sites only. I think I've pretty much covered that question of yours, Dhananjay, in my one of the slides where I mentioned that you have to go on the education forum of the Google. You don't have to take any information from the Google. We have NIN and ICMR values, which are always uploaded. You see, there are some beautiful research papers and articles and the latest feeds that come, on the original websites, the patron websites which are there. You don't have to go to Google. So you can go to Google Scholar, which is verified, of course. So you can refer to that, or an IN and ICMR, or any authenticated site. There are lots of them now. And of course, you can download the PDFs of the books which are there. They are very, very, I mean, books is what transforms. So I always say information is transformation. So we can do that from there. Yeah.
And one more thing, like he want to ask one more thing, that even we, the nutritionist and dietitian, know the science behind the food and the diet, but still we are not following that things. How much you are agreed with this, ma'am?
Oh, but then we have to see. I mean, there's a quote that says that you should always walk the talk. So that becomes very important for us. So walk the talk. That is up to us. It's like it's all right what we did till today morning or yesterday. Past is a bygone. What we need to do in the next moment henceforth is very, very important. So at least 5 to 6 days in a week we have to take care of our diet. One day, of course, you can do your binging and things like that. And there is no age to do that. So we've, like, in my bio there is this thing that when I won my first 100 meters I was 51 years of age, and I ran 100 meters at the age of 51, representing Delhi in the athletic meet, and I did that in 16 seconds. And everybody was congratulating me when I did the finishing line, and like, wow, you've set up a record, because obviously, your time is being recorded there. And I was wondering that what's that, because I'm not a professional runner. I mean, like, I work like all of us. I have like a 9:30 to 6 o'clock job, and like all of that. So I was running for fitness, because during COVID, I got a lot of time, because we were working in an online mode. And that gave me a lot of time, because my travel time is too much to office and forth. And I started running for fitness. Okay. So, and then I once in 16, then I saw the world's best was 12 seconds. And that is the reason why people were coming and congratulating me. I didn't know that happened. So, which means that you can be whatever you want to be at whatever age, as long as you have that fire within you. Okay, so it's very important that you set yourself some goal. If it is to do with weight loss, set yourself a very realistic goal. Don't look, I suppose somebody 75 kgs, set your goal as 70. I mean, like, it's always better to go step by step in life, in anything. So set your goal at 70 right now. So only 5 kilos of weight loss as an example. And then keep a small milestone, just 1.5 to 2 kilos of fat loss per month. That is it. That will not ask to do like a revolution kind of a thing, that will be very, very doable. So then once you've reached 70, you do something else. Or if it is something to do with, say, you want to change, that, like we for the longest heard in our healthcare sector, it's very important, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So this poem we have been learning from forever. Like, again, it's written by Benjamin Franklin, by the way. Even when I was in nursery, I actually heard this poem, but now I follow it. Okay, so it takes a time. It is all right if you could not do anything. Okay, but in your own way, try to make little changes into your life. Don't try to make drastic changes. You cannot go from first floor till the third or fourth, like that. You always go from first to second and then to third. So make your small goals in life and try and incorporate that as part of the lifestyle. This is what I do. So now I've been able to do early to bed, early to rise, because in all our families, it becomes very difficult to actually go to bed very early. Because the system has been like that. The logo kya raat ko 12 baje bhi Maggi banti hai, ye banti hai. So yes, I mean, it's a beautiful question that you've asked. Now, not related to digitalization, but definitely. And, so you can still do it. We have to work at our own mental. I always say that there are 3 most important people in your life. It is I, me, myself. So focus on yourself. Make your own physical goals, like, in terms of where you want to take your health or whatever it is. Like right now, what are the little changes that you need to make? Maybe in your sleeping habit, maybe in your exercise schedules also. You need to make those little habits in your exercise schedule. You have to take out those 30 minutes for yourself. Otherwise everything is just an excuse. There is nobody, people talk on the phone for like 30-40 minutes unnecessarily. Okay, but they don't get even 20 to 25 minutes to go for a walk. Whereas we always say, like in one of my conferences, like I'd given them the matter also, I written the first line, a 30-minute walk every day can do more for your long-term health than all the efforts of a dozen doctors and their medications. So this is a quote that I had written in that article. So just that you don't know at the physiological and cellular level, what are the biological changes, biochemical changes that are happening just when you have given that 30 minutes of a walk to yourself. So yeah, we are all building under construction. We are never complete, and we should never be complete also, because learning and evolution and growth is a lifelong process. I'm still learning today, at this age also. Dr. Lakshita, she's been working, she's been brilliant. We have been colleagues at one point of time. She's brilliant. I have seen her, how she has grown and learned and really worked hard at her life, in every which way. Even when stresses and tension, she would actually rise above every obstacle, and wherever she's reached today at her own merit. So we all have to be like that. Okay. So yeah, set little goals for yourself and targets, and always pat your back when you've achieved them. Like self-love is the best form of love. When you fall madly in love with yourself, the whole world loves you. So you can do that. And this is what I've learned from Tony Robbins, and who's been one of my life coach mentors, not the nutrition mentors. And enjoy your life. Do all the things that you love to enjoy. Be mentally free. So freedom is a very vast word. It's an umbrella word. Financially free, this free, time-wise free, freedom to make a choice, freedom for whatever, freedom to do the things that you really love to do. You have only one life. Enjoy it to the fullest and the best. Everybody has that capacity. It's just that people have not opened up to, we don't listen to inner voices. We are always surrounded by the outside noise. Okay, this is the reason. So, but we can do that, and it's never too late in life. This is the reason I'd given you my example because you've asked question about health and nutrition and fitness. So this is what I had to share. So I was not running till 47 years of age. I was gymming. I've been gymming regularly since 2006. But then I started running when I turned 47. The world says you cannot do all these things at that age or whatever, isn't it? I mean, like you cannot. I wanted to master, certain yoga practices. So everybody said at this age you want to do it, at that age you want to do it, menopause, this, that, 100 things. I said nothing doing. I mean, like I'm into health and nutrition, like my main subjects are nutrition, food science, and dietetics. And, like there's nothing like it is not correlated to age at all. Degeneration is what we do ourselves to our body. Food would never degenerate us. Okay. So that is what. So you can start from today.
And ma'am, next, Dhananjay is saying, thank you so much, ma'am. Really, session was very wonderful, informative, attentive, and attractive.
Oh, thank you so much, Dhananjay, and God bless you. And to each of you who've been listening so cleanly, and thank you so much.
Okay, another question from Gaurav sir. So he's saying, how safe food packaging in plastic and aluminum foils, as most of the food items available in the market? Is there any alternative for that? Yes.
Yeah. So what happens is that definitely, I mean, in the recent conference that I attended, it did say that India is really rising in terms of the hypothyroid, PCOS, and other endocrinal abnormalities, and the hormonal problems. And, it is, we've been thinking that there are multiple reasons and this and that, but there it was, they corroborated various researchers, and the outcome was that all these things are because of excessive use of plastic. Okay, so now when we talk about that, so people are, we have been able to use the digital media again to bring this information to the world that plastic majorly is harmful when kept in cold and hot temperatures. So if you're using plastic in your microwave, stop using it, because then it releases phthalates and bisphenol A, which are the two very toxic agents which are there in the plastic, which are also cancerous. Okay, so that, and in the cold. So in the cold, that is when you put water in the refrigerator, in a plastic bottle, then it would release phthalates and BPA. And even if the bottles tell you that, that it is BPA free and all that stuff written on the bottles, there is no plastic which is BPA free. For all those of us who have microwave in our house, अगर हमारा माइक्रोवेव के साथ ना कुछ यूटेंसिल्स आते हैं प्लास्टिक के, येलो कलर के होते हैं अलग अलग साइजेस में, आप देखना अगर आपका माइक्रोवेव पुराना है और उन प्लास्टिक के जो यूटेंसिल्स माइक्रोवेव के साथ आए थे, जिनको कहते हैं कि इट इज द बेस्ट, लाइक टोटली बीपीए फ्री और उसमें बिल्कुल थायलेट्स और बिस्फेनॉल ए नहीं निकलता है, यू सी दैट मेरे घर पे भी जो वेसल है माइक्रोवेव वाला, वो नीचे से इट हैज बिकम वेरी अब्रेसिव, like खुरदुरा जिसको बोलते हैं, it's become very, very abrasive. It's not smooth like what I had purchased as, which means my family has eaten up all that plastic ना, जो उसमें से निकला है, उसमें से जो निकला है वो हमने खाया है ना, क्योंकि हमने उस प्लास्टिक को यूज किया है कभी इडली बनाने के लिए, कभी खाने गर्म करने के लिए. So इसलिए I think that our government, I would really appreciate, is pretty much, there are so many state governments that are trying to make people aware about the harmful effects of the plastic use and the microplastic in the aquatic marine life. अब धीरे धीरे इफेक्ट हो रहा है because we are in India, we are an overpopulated country, but in our own way we have to make this information reach out to millions of the people. We are literally like almost 1/5 of the world's population living only in India. Hence every implementation becomes difficult. Even when it was less of tobacco use and cigarette, Supreme Court had ordered that no public smoking, it is now a punishable offense. But abhi bhi nahi ho paya na, itne saal ho gaye ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट को ये ऑर्डर इशू करते हुए, अभी भी पूरी तरह से नहीं हो पा रहा है, अगेन बिकॉज ऑफ पॉपुलेशन, बट इन आवर ओन वे इफ वी कैन चेंज द लाइफ ऑफ द पर्सन राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस, वी हैव डन, एज इट सेज 1 is the mother of 10,000. तो कोई बात नहीं, अगर 100 लोगों को भी इन्फॉर्मेशन पता लगी है ना, उनसे वो आगे मल्टीप्लाई होती जाएगी, बिकॉज एनी गुड इन्फॉर्मेशन वर्क्स लाइक अ न्यूक्लियर फिशन. So in that tandem, it will reach out to multiple people. The Bihar government, Gujarat and Maharashtra, they have already banned plastic. Delhi had done it a while ago, but abhi fir se use hona shuru ho gaya. But in our own way, we can take this information. I take a lot of webinars and seminars on the harmful effects of plastics. I'm sure that you all must be, doing that as well. So in our own way, we have to bring it, and we can incorporate that as part of the teaching curriculum. If we have not incorporated as a teaching curriculum, because कई बार बहुत सारी चीजें टेक्स्ट बुक्स में नहीं डाल सकते क्योंकि वो डायरेक्ट स्टडी से कोरिलेटेड नहीं होती है, बट वी कैन एटलीस्ट टेक वेबिनार्स ऑन दैट, वी कैन यूज सोशल मीडिया, और वी कैन गिव दोस टॉपिक्स टू द स्टूडेंट्स टू स्टडी एंड मेक अ प्रेजेंटेशन एंड शेयर विद अस. क्योंकि वो सारे लोग कोलैबोरेटिवली जब वो प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर करेंगे तो एक देयर इज अ push that comes into our own life also, and we ensure that we try to minimize the use of plastic in the cold and hot temperature. At ambient temperature and normal temperature, it doesn't give that harmful effect. And when it comes to, so people are using a lot of glass. In my house, we started using glass bottles to keep water in the refrigerator. And even in the microwave, we use kaach like Borosil or any glass, the crystal glass utensils to warm up the food. So most of us in India, we don't use microwave for cooking, we use it for warming. And if you're using it for warming, I think glass vessel mein aap rakh ke karo, koi dikkat nahi hai, uski wajah se everything is going to be safe. Although microwave radiations itself is not that great, but if you're just using it for warming, your body gets acclimatized over a period of time, because there's a constant evolution जो हमारी body के अंदर भी हो रहा है. हमारा ब्लड पीएच पहले इतना अल्कलाइन नहीं था, वो अभी अल्कलाइन हुआ है. बहुत साल पहले लोगों के 32 टीथ नहीं होते थे, वो कटिंग टीथ होते थे, टीयरिंग वाला ना, क्योंकि मीट बहुत खाते थे लोग. सो वो कटिंग एंड वो ग्राइंडिंग टीथ नहीं थे हमारे. ये हमारी धीरे धीरे हमारी ह्यूमन बॉडी में भी तो एवोल्यूशन हो रहा है ना, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन आवर ईटिंग हैबिट्स एंड द सिस्टम्स दैट वी हैव. पहले नहीं थे हम ऐसे. पहले हमारे अपेंडिक्स एक मेजर ऑर्गन हुआ करता था जो पार्ट ऑफ द डाइजेशन था. अभी अपेंडिक्स वेस्टिजियल ऑर्गन हो गया, आप हटा भी दोगे तो आपके डाइजेशन को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, क्योंकि उसका डाइजेशन में कोई रोल नहीं है. तो हमारी बॉडी टॉन्सिल्स पहले मतलब वॉइस बॉक्स को भी हेल्प करता था बोलने में भी, एंड टॉन्सिल्स यूज्ड टू हेल्प अस इवन इन लाइक डाइजेशन ऑफ द फूड एंड ब्रीदिंग. अभी कोई यूज नहीं है. टॉन्सिल को भी हम वही बोलते हैं वेस्टिजियल ऑर्गन, तो टॉन्सिल्स हटा भी देते हैं तो हमको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. तो इस तरह हमारी बॉडी में कॉन्स्टेंटली इंटेस्टाइनल लेंथ चेंज होती जा रही है. इंटेस्टाइनल लेंथ पहले इतनी नहीं थी. जितने आप वेजिटेरियनिज्म की तरफ आप ड्रॉ होते हो, योर एलिमेंट्री कैनाल्स बिकम बिगर एंड बिगर. एक्चुअली इफ यू ओपन योर एलिमेंट्री कैनाल, इट इज एज बिग एज अ फुटबॉल फील्ड. ओके, सो इट इज ओनली द लाइक अल्कलाइन बॉडीज जो होती हैं, जिनको फाइबर रिच फूड खाना होता है, ओनली दे हैव लॉन्गर इंटेस्टाइन, बिकॉज फाइबर टेक्स टाइम टू डिजेस्ट एंड ट्रैवल. Okay, like lion and tiger, जो जितने भी carnivores होते हैं, they barely have, they are such bulky heavy animals, but they barely have any length of the alimentary canal. So cow, like cow and buffalo, they're supposed to be totally vegetarian, no? They are only on a plant-based diet, they don't eat animal. तो उनके 2 intestine होती है, बहुत लंबी intestine होती है. So that is how the evolution लगातार हो रहा है. तो although मतलब plastic का use अगर ambient temperature में आप ले रहे हो, तो आपकी body does respond and try to change and condition itself marginally. But yes, in hot and cold temperature, no ways. And well, the use of, I think people have gone back to using steel के utensils now, है ना. पहले steel बिल्कुल बंद कर दिया था लोगों ने use करना. They were using plastic plates of different colors and all of that. So now people are coming back to the use of steel. So which is such a good thing. And glass, if you want to heat up or you want to put it in the cold temperature. And of course, aluminium was another this thing. So aluminium will rub, I mean, like only if it is hot, there is a bioreaction that happens between the food and this. But of course, you can start using your tiffin boxes to store your chapatis and that instead of using aluminum. Aluminum generally dry चीजों के लिए use होता है. So जब तक moisture ingredient नहीं होता है food में, तब तक वो बहुत ज़्यादा bioreaction नहीं होता है food में. होता है marginally, but not that bad that it can start deteriorating your health. So that way, in our own way, we can minimize the use of plastic. Milk, yes. Now milk comes in plastic ki thali, and that too very poor quality plastic. Okay, so the moment you bring the plastic bags wala milk into your house, immediately cut it. Don't store it in the refrigerator with the plastic. Immediately boil it. Okay, because this is the minimum we can do. Although I'm sure that in the future times, of course, the milk will start coming in the glass bottles again. But till then, you can, don't store it in the plastic. It's already been there in the food outlets in that plastic for a while. और milk highly perishable food होता है, तो बहुत ज़्यादा देर रखा भी नहीं होगा वो store में. जैसे आप अपने घर में ला रहे हो, immediately cut it and boil it. And so that way you can minimize the use of that. And there are so many things I feel that कुछ modifiable चीजें होती है जिसके बारे में आप कुछ कर सकते हो, कुछ non modifiable होती है. Modifiable का आप कुछ कर सकते हो, non modifiable का you can't do anything. दूध तो वही पीना है ना हमें जो आ रहा है. मतलब कब तक आप कोई गाय तो नहीं ढूंढ के ला सकते और उसका वो करेंगे. But try to control on the food aspect the things that you can. Like try to buy more of seasonal vegetables. Like इस मौसम में है ना, अभी वो गर्मी के टाइम चल रहा है, समर सीजन में मत खाओ अभी कैबेज और कॉलीफ्लावर. मत खाओ, ये विंटर वेजिटेबल होती है ना, ये विंटर्स में ही खाएंगे हम. तो अभी वो ग्रो भी हो रही है तो जेनेटिकली मॉडिफिकेशन की वजह से ग्रो हो जाती है. अदरवाइज कॉलीफ्लावर एंड कैबेज डोंट नो हाउ टू ग्रो इन द समर सीजन. मूली इफ इट इज कमिंग राइट नाउ, रेडिश एंड कैरेट, डोंट यूज देम. Okay, it is not natural का स्वाद भी अलग होगा. So that is how we all know that what are the seasonal vegetables and seasonal fruits. We might get oranges right now, but don't buy them. Eat mango. Okay, don't eat oranges right now. So this is how we can do eating more of the seasonal and the locally grown, because our DNA adapts, DNA is already pre-adapted to the locally grown crops and fruits and vegetables and all of that. So don't try to get something very Firangi, which is not available in India, because your DNA is not familiar with that. And DNA, we've been taking it for so many generations now, hundreds and hundreds of them. We are taking in the DNAs here. So DNA is very adaptable to certain food items that we have. So eat locally available things, because your body understands and knows that, and eat real food, not the factory made food, not pizza sauce and tomato ketchup and pasta sauce and mayonnaise. Your body doesn't know all that. That's why we get diseases, right? So take things that are grown from the earth. White sugar, we need to drastically cut down on. It is one of the biggest, like inflammatory foods available, and we have a lot of sugar in India. I just was reading a research which said that, one family of 4 people finish 1 kilo of sugar in 1 week. Can you imagine? You should actually take in like, a month to finish that kind of a sugar. So go on more the natural things of the sugar, of course. Jaggery and honey, all that is there, people ask. But at the end of the day, we are all, if we are from the nutritional background, there's something called simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrate. So we have to avoid taking mono and disaccharide. So even if it is jaggery is not a zero nutrient sugar. Okay, definitely it has vitamin C and it has more nutrients and minerals also. Even brown sugar would have minerals. But at the end of the day, remember, they are all mono and disaccharides only. They are not oligo and poly. Okay, so we need to minimize that as well. So in our own way, we can make those little changes that we can. Yeah.
Okay, one more question from his side, like which software and app you recommend for monitoring your patients' compliance with diet plans?
Oh, that you should have asked Sandhya. I think she is more aware of that. So you can post in this question to her, because in the hospital setup, they are using more of that. But there are multiple, apps, and we don't promote any brand here. And I never do. Even when I talk about soft drinks, I'm not talking about the brand name of the soft drinks. I don't want to get into trouble. So, okay. So that way. So there are multiple apps that we have, which are generated by software programming, that you can just put in that. So many of our students have made those apps as well, which are really doing well all over the world, because we have students from all over the globe. So yeah, anyone that you find comfortable with, but always compare the values in there to the current RDA. If they are matching, only then you can use that app for the reasons. And otherwise, you can definitely like connect with Sandhya, who had come in yesterday, they would be able to tell you that which particular app and that they're using for charting out the diet plans, because I'm sure that would be verified and authentic. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am. And thank you for being exceptional speaker and for enriching our knowledge. Your vast experience and practical knowledge are truly commendable. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and see you around again, and have the best of life. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lakshita, for inviting me.
I think ma'am is, yeah, ma'am is busy with some meeting.
Oh, no problem. Please extend my gratitude to her, because
Sure, ma'am.
she
Sure.
has sent me the. Thank you so much. Thank you, and all the best for all the learnings that you would be having henceforth. I think you have the session till 27.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, all the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much. Okay, so dear participants, it's a lunch time, so we will resume at 2 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon to all the esteemed speakers and participants. Welcome back to the plenary session after a refreshing lunch break. I hope you had an opportunity to enjoy a delightful meal and recharge your energy. As we convey I'm excited to continue our discussion and our next session. So I would like to invite Dr. Agarwal, and she's Harsha Agarwal. She's a doctorate in psychology with a specialization in health, clinical, and child psychopathology. She has heading the Department of Psycho-Oncology in Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute and Research Center, New Delhi since 2018. Her vision is to create an ecosystem in society, especially among cancer patients and their caregivers. She has also been actively conducting researches to spread a word of awareness. Her research work, article, and contribution to the society has been published across several national and international journals. She has been accredited with globally recognized professionals with certified credentials in the area of suicide prevention counseling and behavior event analysis and graphology and graphotherapy and psychological assessment and diagnosis. And she is a nationally certified career counselor as well. She has won several awards and accolades for her efforts. Very recently, her efforts were acknowledged with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award 2023 for her service excellence in psycho-oncology by Nationwide Health Care Award 2022. Welcome, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Deepika, for the kind words for me, and a warm welcome. Thank you so much. I would like to thank everybody who's present here. Let me just start the screen sharing from my side. Just a second, please.
Sure, ma'am.
Deepika, are the slides visible?
Not yet, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Are
Yes,
there?
your screen is visible, I think, but not slides.
Just a second. Are the slides now visible?
Your screen, you have to click on your PPT. Yes, now it's visible. Yes, ma'am.
Now it's visible. Okay. So thank you so much, Deepika, for a warm welcome. And I would like to thank Dr. Lakshita as well for inviting me for this FDP. So the topic for today's discussion and this presentation is impact of technology on cognitive and psychomotor skills of learners. Because it's a post-lunch session, so I would appreciate if we can have a one-on-one session, interactive one, so that you guys are not sleeping and my efforts are not going in vain. Right? So we can do this. At least you guys can raise your hands, as I am on a screen sharing basis. So I will not be able to see who is able to hear me or not. If I am not audible or if there is any problem, kindly let me know. So now let's start on with the thing. First, I would like to present the agenda, that what my this presentation of 1.5 hours or maybe less will be all about. So the agenda for this presentation will be, first, to make you understand as faculty, to make you understand what are cognitive skills, what are psychomotor skills, how technology impacts them, whether the impact of technology is positive or negative, how as faculty we can find a balance, what all we can do to integrate technology into learning, and in the end, I'll conclude the scene. Now, first, as it's a post-lunch session, so this is first question which I would like to ask is, why are we here today? I can't hear anybody, but if anybody of you would like to say anything, kindly do that, because if we'll keep it as an interactive session, it would be much, much, much better, and a better learning we will have. Okay, so I'll start. Why are we here today? As the impact of technology on cognitive and psychomotor skills of learners has been a subject of extensive research and discussion in the education. So here I have just put one thing according to Benjamin's taxonomy. 1950s, he has presented this taxonomy in 1950, which has been revised over a period of years. According to him, cognitive and psychomotor are two major domains of learning out of three domains, and the third domain is affective domain. That is what we feel. And both of these, cognitive and psychomotor, are crucially impacted by technology. Overall, technology can have both positive and negative effects depending on how it is utilized and integrated into learning processes. The image which you see here, they have things written on it. So when we are talking about cognition, let's see. Let's start with cognitive things. So when we are talking about cognition, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. These are six lower order to higher order learning skills. We start with remembering. A student, a learner, even we as faculty also. We start with remembering things. Once we remember, we try to understand them. After understanding whatever we have understood, we would like to apply that to our normal day routines. After applying, we analyze what I have learned and understood, and whatever I have applied, is it exactly the same or are there any differences? On the basis of analyzing that, we try to evaluate whatever we have learned or whatever the focus was. Was it fulfilled or not? If it is fulfilled, good enough. If not, then we try to create something new. And that is what the cognitive component of Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy was. So, what do we actually understand by cognitive skills? As a layman, as a genuine human being, the core skills our brain uses to think, read, learn, remember, reason, and pay attention to are actually cognitive skills. But are we sure it's only this? Can it be more than that? And actually, it is more than that. So here, I'm telling you about the cognitive skills of the brain. As you can see in the center of the slide, there is a portion of brain which I've shown with different colors. Now, this color basically denotes different lobes of the brain. Our brain, as I'm sure you guys must be well aware of, is divided into different lobes, and every lobe has its own function. For example, the orange colored part, that is the frontmost part of the brain, is frontal lobe. Now, this frontal lobe has a specific purpose. Every lobe lobe has its own specific purpose. But when we'll start with the frontal lobe, its main functioning for a learner is mental flexibility, attention, concentration, speaking, and in speaking, majorly expressive language, how you're expressing yourself, how much they're aware of their own abilities, their own limitations, whether they have organizational skills or not, whether they can plan or anticipate things, are they able to self-monitor themselves, judgment, what are their problem-solving skills, and how much a person is able to initiate anything. This frontal lobe is all responsible for that. When we talk about the blue part, it is the parietal lobe. Now, parietal lobe is what we have of sense of touch. That is majorly whatever we have in skin. The skin leads to the parietal lobe. This is also responsible for differentiation of size, shape, color. From a learner's point of view, it is important for spatial perception and visual perception in academic skills. For example, reading. Reading is one of the most important parts in which parietal lobe plays a very important role. Now let's talk about the green part of the brain. It is occipital lobe, which is responsible for vision and reading. Here, when I'm talking about reading, it is more concerned about perception recognition of printed words. That is what I am able to read out, or you guys are able to read out from my slides. These are printed words. For this, our occipital lobe is playing a role. The pink portion of the brain leads to is known as temporal lobe, which is responsible for our memory, hearing, understanding language. And here, when I'm talking about language, it is receptive language, what I'm receiving as a receiver. Organization and sequencing, and whether I'm aware about musical notes or not, whether I'm able to differentiate between something which is musical and non-musical. This temporal lobe, which is related to our ears, is responsible for that. Whatever you hear, temporal lobe is important. Whatever you feel through your skin, parietal lobe is important. Whatever you see through your eyes, occipital lobe is important. And whatever you think, you take initiatives for, your frontal lobe is important for that and plays a role in that. Now, let's come to the cerebrum lobe. The red part which you see at the back, below the pink and green, is cerebrum lobe. Now, the role of cerebellum is coordination of voluntary movements, balance and equilibrium, some memory for reflex motor acts. Now, after these 5 lobes, there is another important part of the brain which plays very, very important role in our cognitive skills, and in fact also plays a role in psychomotor skills. A person has is brain stem. Now, for what all this brain stem is important? Brain stem is important for your breathing, heart rate, swallowing, reflexes to seeing and hearing, whatever action your body has, whatever as a response your body makes in order to whatever you see and hear is through brain stem. It's a very common say, do not hit a child or a person at the bottom of the head, in the back, is because brainstem lies there. So it is also responsible for controlling sweating, blood pressure, digestion, and temperature, which is responsible for your autonomic nervous system. So these are part of your autonomic nervous system. Brainstem affects level of alertness, how alert you are. At times when you're very lazy, when you're busy, your brainstem is not getting new signals, or the neurons or the neurotransmitters are not being rightly given stimulus. It also affects your ability to sleep. Sense of balance is also a function of brain stem. Now, why I discuss brainstem and cerebellum lobe here? Majorly, their role is in psychomotor, but it also has, when we are talking about psychomotor functioning, these are also based on cognitive actions or cognitive responses to one stimulus which we have received in the other four lobes. So, it is also very important to understand cerebellum lobe and brainstem are two important parts of the brain which are equally important not only for cognitive skills but also for the psychomotor skills. Now, as I am sure it was very boring to understand parts of the brain, now because you guys are faculty, so let's talk it in your terms. What is the process of learning and how cognition plays a role in it? So we start with input. Input is any signal which you're receiving through either what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you smell, or what you taste. So that's a signal which you receive. Once any signal you receive, you pay an attention to it. Based on this attention, whether you will judge whether it's a new signal or it's a known thing. If it is a new signal, then it takes a long pathway towards the output. But if it is a known signal, the processing speed will be based on your new and known signals. Whatever you have received as an input, if it is known, it will directly lead you to the knowledge bank that okay, if I have seen this, then what do I have to do? For example, if you have seen somebody falling on the road and you have encountered this thing earlier also, then what you will do? You will go and try to help. That's an automatic processing, and with a quick decision, you will do that. Now, if you process this information, which is a new one, you will send signals to your brain through your working memory. Okay, when something new, you will try to find out one logic and reasoning to that, why that has happened, how that has happened. When you find out a reason, in order to find out a logic and reason, you will process whatever you have seen and whatever you have heard through visual and auditory processing. Once that is processed, you will find out information based on whatever you have seen. You will try to process it with the earlier information you have, and the information which now you have processed as a teacher, or you want to process, or you want your learner to process, that will travel to the long-term memory and will get stored in the knowledge bank. This also will produce now a learned information. Whatever you have learned here, either the processing is through a known source or through a new source. Everything is processed in the same manner, and you learn one new thing. Once you learn a new thing, you store that in your knowledge bank, which is your long-term memory. And based on every input you receive, you have an output. For example, if you see something, you decide whether you have to write it. For example, a teacher is giving some notes or a lecture in the class. A professor is giving a lecture in a class. Now, as a student, if I hear something important, if I've heard something important, it's on me whether I want to write it, whether I want to pass it. If I have learned something new, or if I've heard something, or if I've felt something, now it's on me how I have to process it, how I have to process the information. If I've seen something, I have to write it, spell it, draw it, speak it, or test it. That's an output, whatever we process. And that's where cognition plays a role. Now, let's come to psychomotor skills. When we're talking about psychomotor skills, in general, psychomotor skills are known as physical movements and actions that involve coordination, muscle memory. Examples of psychomotor skills can be hand-eye coordination, fine and gross motor skills, or any finger dexterity. Here in this picture, what I've tried to show is on the basis of, again, taxonomy. Here I have mentioned 5 levels of processing of psychomotor skills. The first one is imitation, then manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. So anybody, any learner starts with imitating. That is, we learn by watching and imitating their actions, which is also known as observational learning in general. So a learner starts learning from observing. Then we try to, whatever we have observed, we try to manipulate it as a learner. I will try to manipulate it according to whatever I have learned by observing that, whether that whatever I have observed as an action, whether it meant to be the same or not, but I will manipulate it according to the way I have learned it, and will same action performed through memorization of following directions. Post this manipulation, a step of precision comes up, where performance becomes more exact and actions are more precise. That is when I am at the precision step. Now my performance is, I have already repeated that observed learn, whatever I've learned through observation, I have already repeated it n number of times. And now I have got a level of, you can say, mastery in doing the same thing, because I've already done a lot of time. With this precision, the next step comes is articulation, where I am able to perform multiple tasks, or I am able to use several skills together in a very harmonious way. Now, any one of you, I would like if you can open up your mind and give me an example from a real life. What can be an example of articulation here? Can anyone of you please tell me or give me a live example, real life example? Can anyone? I hope you guys are listening.
Yes, ma'am.
So anyone can give an example for articulation.
Dear participants, please write in your chat box.
So that even I get to know you guys are listening and you guys are applying the same thing, which we also want from our students.
Ma'am, one reply from Gaurav Kumar Bhardwaj is group assignment.
Group assignment. Can you please explain, Gaurav, how? What are the several skills which you are performing together? So it is about, when I'm talking about articulation, it is about one person. That one person is able to use several skills and can perform them together. Okay, so let me give an example. I am sure you all must be good with driving. Driving can be a good example for articulation. We do not only use one skill, we use a lot of skills in driving. We use our observational skills, we use our attention skills, our comprehension, our focus, in addition to our automatic processing of driving a car without again and again looking at the gearbox. Whenever you have to shift your gear, whenever you have to turn your car either right or left, so you have a good fine motor coordination, gross motor coordination, you have a good muscle memory, that whenever, even with the sound of your vehicle, you get to know that you have to change your gear, your hand automatically does it. On one side your hand, on other side your leg. Your leg presses the clutch and your hand shifts on the gear. If you have to turn around, through your eyes, you're looking into the mirror, front view, rear view, side view mirrors. Simultaneously, you switch on the what do you say, indicators, and you also shift your lane to whichever lane you have to move on. For example, if you have to turn towards the left, you take the left lane. If you have to turn towards the right, you take the right lane. So you have attention there, you have focus there, you have decision making there, and comprehension as well. Using multiple skills simultaneously with no glitches. So driving becomes a normal and automated process. Now, when we step up, a naturalization, it is the highest level of performance achieved with actions becoming second nature. That is, okay, so here an example can be riding a bicycle. Anybody, whenever they have learned riding a bicycle, they have made a lot of mistakes. But even after years of not riding a bicycle, if now also you will ride a bicycle, it will be as natural as it can be, because it has been processed in your brain in such a manner that it has now become a natural thing. In fact, it is also said that if you have learned how to ride a bicycle, you can also ride a bike or a scooty or a scooter as well, in as good and efficient manner as you have ridden a bicycle. So this was about psychomotor skills. So in order to recap, we have discussed about what are cognitive skills, what is cognition, how different parts of brain have different roles, and every part has an equal role and a different role to play. Then what are psychomotor skills and the levels of psychomotor skills. Now, with this slide, I am just trying to put some light on the psychomotor domain in a very normal and layman term. Now, here with this slide, I have just mentioned 6 domains of psychomotor abilities or skills, which are agility, endurance, strength, speed, flexibility, and precision. These are few domains which, if come together, makes you good with psychomotor skills. Now, what do we mean by agility? Agility is our ability to move quickly and easily. Endurance is the capacity of yours to do something to last. Strength, quality of being physically strong. Speed is ability to process something quickly. Now, these all are your brain functions. Flexibility is how much ability you have to bend without breaking. Now, in a general sense, it is flexibility of a body. In the same manner, flexibility has to be in the brain also. if you get stubborn or if you get stern, nahi ye hai to yahi hai, ye hai to ye nahi hai, then it does not mean that you're flexible. If you are flexible, that means you are ready, you are open minded, you're ready to accept a change, you're ready to move towards a change, and change is what now the need of the hour is. What we have learned in our childhood, now what people are learning in their childhood is very different. In order to learn and understand what now people are learning, we have to be flexible. We cannot just have a stubborn mindset or a closed mindset and go on with our thought processes and our learnings, whatever we had. Next is precision, which is our ability to be exact and accurate. Now, how technology can have an influence on our psychomotor domain? As I have written an example here, it was very common during COVID time that everybody was almost 90% except doctors. People were doing work from home. Now, for a few early days, work from home was a blessing in disguise, I would say. But then it became a curse in disguise too, because with work from home, the psychomotor domain of a human was impacted negatively, that too to the extreme level. People have become lazy, they adapted to the sedentary lifestyle, they have gained weight, they became obese because of bad lifestyle habits and eating habits. They got into anxiety and depression because of changes in their lifespans, because of being isolated, because of not being able to share their whatever feelings they had, because of any number of things. The effect of work from home, and not only on adults but also on children, they have made people stick and too much abided and bounded to technology. Earlier, we could have said, or we could have applied no technology or less technology to the children. Focus on your books. Now, even children answer back with, कोविड में भी तो हो रहा था, अब क्यों नहीं करने देते हो? अब भी तो हमारा काम ही करना है हमें. But now they are dependent on this technology. Now, positive impact of technology. Okay, so because of a slide share thing, I'm sorry. The way I have made it, it is not coming up like that. Still, let's go on with the flow. So, technology do not only have positive or negative, it has both effect, impact on us. One, yes, the very uh, common thing is enhanced cognitive skills. How cognitive skills can be enhanced? Now, technology can provide interactive and engaging learning experiences that stimulate cognitive skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, and decision making. Educational apps, simulations, and games can challenge learners to think in a more creative and analytical manner. So, thus, technology has helped to enhance cognitive skills. Second would be it has given us access to information. The internet and digital resources provide us, whosoever is searching on them, an instant access to a vast bank of information. It enables us to explore diverse topics and expand our knowledge related to that one It also provides us personalized learning because every person is different from one to other. Everyone has a different kind of learning, you can say, learning skills or learning abilities. I may learn quickly, but someone or I may not learn quickly too. In one thing, I may be really good. In another, I may be an average learner. So I will have a personalized learning experience, adaptive through the technology. This technology helps me learn at my own pace, will help me learn in a better manner. That is the most significant impact of a technology on individuals because it helps us or it helps an individual to learn with their own pace and with their own level of understanding. Next comes collaborative communication. Now, what do I mean by collaborative communication? With online platforms and tools facilitation, we are getting enough portals and enough space to collaborate and communicate ourselves with others. In this manner, technology has helped in leading teams, making people do teamwork, enhance the social skills, and enables us to exchange our ideas and get a hack of what other thinks about the same. And collaboratively, we can come to the better solution because with this help of technology, we have gained not only vision but a peripheral vision which is not ours but others, and which has actually led us to know things in a better and a more exhaustive manner. Next point comes here is multimodal learning. Yes, technology allows for the integration of different media types. For example, you can see my slides. I have also added text. I have added images. I was planning to add some audio and video, but due to some gap, I could not do that. But in PPT, we can do add, and we do add audios. We do add videos. So we're learning in a multimodal manner, and same way, even faculties are planning their lectures for their students as well nowadays. E-learning, which we say, but with this e-learning, we also have to keep a track on what are the skills we are transferring. Engaging with technology can also improve digital literacy and computer related skills. The person with whom you are sharing your multimodal learning, first you have to let the person understand and learn the skills and then make them apply them to their general and daily knowledge. Once a person starts this, they will reach to the enhanced cognitive skills. The best example for the positive impact of technology can be artificial intelligence. For example, nowadays, even in schools, schools are promoting classes for artificial intelligence where they are letting students learn this digital. They are letting the students learn with digital technology and digital. You can say these app making technologies where they are making the students. They are enabling students with how they can make up an app for maybe game, for educational purposes, for data sharing purposes. So artificial intelligence is one of the biggest things and the you can say pro of technology. But if technology is good, it is bad too. Now, what are the negative impact of technology? Negative impact of technology, the first is digital distraction. Now, excessive use of technology can lead to distraction, reducing learners to focus, to have good span of attention. It also impacts their ability to focus on complex tasks for extended period of time because of being too much into usage of, let's say, computers, laptops, iPads, mobile phones, that too on the go. Now I do not have that ability as a learner. Maybe I do not have that ability to expend my duration of attention to something at work, that is which I am trying to do or which I want to do in person. It leads to over reliance on technology. Heavy reliance on technology for learning may hinder learners' ability to think critically and solve problems without the aid of digital tools. Next is reduced physical activity. Yes, the use of technology severely hampers the physical involvement of a person into doing things. Nowadays, even if, let's say, a very general and a daily example, if I'll take, earlier, when we want to eat something, we used to plan for it. Let's say, if I am good in making pasta, so I'll plan what kind of pasta I have to make. I'll search it for the recipes. Then I go to the market. I'll get all the groceries done. I'll get all the things listed and I'll get them from the market and then I'll make it. But now I'm not making an effort either to even cook, I'll order. Next, even if I'll want to cook, I'll order things. I will not go to the market. I'll order it on an online portal and get it at my home. So I am getting overly reliant on technology and which automatically has reduced my physical activity, which ultimately hampers my health and which will deplete my psychomotor skills too. Next is social isolation. Here, excessive use of technology for learning may reduce face-to-face interaction, potentially affecting the development of social and interpersonal skills. Because I'm more engaged into my technology, let's say iPad or my phones or my laptops, I would not like to interact or would not like to go out from my own comfort zone. I would rather play a game on a mobile on my iPad than playing game with others in my society or with my friends. So I am more on a social isolation basis. Even nowadays, you'll see that people who are sitting on dining table for a dinner, let's say 5 people are in the house and they are sitting on the dining table, they do not interact with each other, but they are interacting on social media. They're uploading things on social media, they are WhatsApping, they are Facebooking, they are Twittering, whatever they are doing. But they are not interacting with each other. We do not have time to even interact within our family because we are so much engrossed with the text. We lack hands-on training with due to technology. Now, some education technology might not adequately provide hands-on training. We can get hands-on training, but if this hands-on training is being provided in one-on-one person, that is in person training, obviously I'm going to learn much more. Currently, I feel yes, I can, and I have done it. But until unless you get it done completely with your hands, you get on with the skill, you test yourself whether you can or you cannot, you do not get that confidence of doing the thing. Another point which I have missed out somehow in this is information overload. And that is the highest negative impact of a technology, I will say. Now, why? Information overload. So everything is easily available, as I've earlier also told. Due to this availability of technology, we have abundance of information available online. which is overwhelming for learners, which is overwhelming for everyone. We do not know whether that information is needed or not. At times, what I'm looking for, obviously, 90% of the brain is pulled by negative and only 10% is positive, and I have to push my brain towards the positive. But because negative pulls, and internet also gives you a lot of information which may not be applicable on you, but which is acceptable to you because your brain is seeking that negative point. So you go on with that. It also leads to difficulties in processing and discerning accurate and relevant information because you're not aware of whether this information is valid for you or not, whether this information is what you were actually looking for or not. But certainly it is something because of the overload of information and no assurance whether the information which you have received online is right or not, you tend to end up into anxiety. So we must take care of that we should not be overly searching on internet. And if still we have to find something, we have we can do that on internet, but that should be checked up with the books and the teachers or the people we know may have the knowledge for the same. We should not be completely relying on the information which we are receiving through internet. Next comes, oh, sorry for that. Example for this is cybercontriasis. Now, I hope you guys are aware of this term, but cybercontriasis is basically introduced in DSM-5 PR for the that is Diagnostical Statistical Manual for Psychological Disorders. So cybercontriasis is one anxiety disorder which has been found in people nowadays. Why? Now, if I have an anxiety about or if I want to search about something, what I do is I do not ask the relevant person or the right person for this. I'll first search with Dr. Google. I'll consult Dr. Google for that. The Google, I'll go on that, type my queries, and this Dr. Google will prescribe me with n number of information. Now I'm not sure whether that is applicable on me or not, but because I'm not feeling good, so what I'll do is I'll take up the negative and will ignore the positive, which will, instead of reducing my anxiety, which will increase it and lead to n number of side effects of that. That is, it may worsen up my anxiety or it may lead to anything which can be self-harming too. For example, now I am working with cancer hospital. Here people come whenever doctors are prescribing them or have to start on with the chemotherapy. Instead of asking a doctor what are the side effects of chemotherapy or what is chemotherapy, what they do is they search on internet or they'll ask their people all around, and they'll start believing on whatever they find on internet. There are n number and n types of chemotherapy available nowadays. Now is not the time that if you have cancer or if you have to get chemotherapy, you are going to die. Now it is not the scenario. But because it is a myth and stigma towards chemotherapy is so prevalent in society, so what a patient does is patient searches on internet and believe on whatever negative effects are written on internet nowadays, rather than asking whether their medicine of chemotherapy is going to cause it or not. They start believing, and unfortunately, because they believe it, so the signals are being produced by the brain and they face it too. And it is not because of effects of chemotherapy, but those are psychosomatic symptoms which they face. they do get through, they do have to face adjustment disorders because of that. They do have isolation phases because of this. And in few cases, they have also seen because of such beliefs, they have gone into depression too. Let's come back to the topic. Just in order to explain the negative impact of technology, I have explained that. Now, what as a faculty, as a teacher, we can do for that? We have to find a balance between encouragement and a balance in when and how much we have to do it. It is essential for us and institutions to strike a balance between traditional teaching methods and technology integration, ensuring that technology complements and enhances the learning process rather than replacing the aspects of cognitive and psychomotor skill development. So, any day we do not have to replace what we are learning day to day, one on one with the technology thing, but we have to integrate the both things. So that is whatever we are learning online, we have to test it offline too. As educators, we must carefully encourage to design technology and the cognitive and psychomotor skill development by carefully designing and implementing technology. Now, learning experiences, educators can harness the potential of technology to positively impact the learner's ability. We need to encourage our students, our learners to use technology for right purpose, for right amount, and right time. And we do not have to push them to only technological stuff. We have to let them understand that you have to take a break from technology. What books have, technology cannot. What you can do, technology cannot. What meeting people can do cannot be done on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. No, it cannot be done. So we have to, as an educators, find a balance between all of them. Now, a big question which comes up, that is best practices for technological integration. So there was a picture in between, which is now replaced with three dots, which says that for the best practices of technology integration into learning encompasses three things. First is foster critical learning. You have to focus on we have to focus on critical learning processes, that whatever you are doing, at least analyze that whether you're doing it in the right manner or not. If you consider it is not the right thing, then try to do it in another way. You have, as a learner, you have to find a balance in screen time and physical activity. So you cannot just be doing your things on using technology, but you also have to balance it with physical activities. It could be going out for exercise, it could be riding a bicycle, playing a sport, maybe even let's say going up and downstairs, making your dog or pet go for a walk. These all can be used, or going for a play with your friends as well. Another point important here is individualized technology usage. Now, we must utilize educational apps and software that we must utilize educational apps and software that adapt to individual learners' needs. As earlier also I've told that we must focus individual and personalized learning experiences. Every learner doesn't have the same learning skills and capacity, so we should have an individualized learning usage and technology usage. Now I would like to conclude my this session, because it is important to have a good cognitive and psychomotor skill and go on with the whatever we are in scenario in the world, which is a tech savvy world. Technology not only influences our learning skills, but with overusage, it makes us addicted and dependent too. So, but as I said, that it's a tech savvy world. Now, in fact, we are more concerned with whether I have iPhone 13 and you have iPhone 14, or now you're going to take iPhone 15. We are not concerned about whether I know how to use it or not. So, the best part is that key for this technology thing is optimization. Instead of getting into whether what other person knows or not, you should more worry about whether you know it or not and how much useful it is for you. So responsible usage can enhance the learning process by making it easy, make us independent, while overuse can make us dependent, lazy, get used to of sedentary lifestyle, deplete our attention span, and will reduce the sleep as well. It will make our sleep disturbed, or you may have a shift in your circadian rhythm. That is, you may turn nocturnal, who are, which means you are awake at night and you're sleeping during the day. Thank you so much for attending the session. Now we can have a question answer session. If anybody has any questions, I am here available to you.
So, ma'am, one question from chat box
please.
from Dhananjay Sharma. He's saying it's very informative and wonderful session, and he want to ask that what are the impact of advancement of technologies on psychological well-being?
Thank you so much, Dhananjay, for for your feedback and for the absolutely correct question. So, advancement in technologies, as I've said, Dhananjay, that see, advancement has to be there. That's not a problem. But I as a person have to optimize my usage. I should know how much I have to go through the screen time. I should know whether I have to do it or not, or whether I have to make myself uncomfortable and go on with the advancement of technology. For example, let's say there are nowadays so many advancements in researches. There are so many advancements in, let let me more do it in a general manner. There are so many advancements in mobile phone technology. On daily basis, we are receiving this phone has come up with this new advancement. This phone has come up with this advancement. Now we have our own comfort zones. For example, Apple user will use Apple only. Samsung user will go for Samsung. But that doesn't say that Samsung user is not an advanced one or an Apple user is a more advanced one. It all depends on how advanced I am to ready to accept the change. But as an advancement, the one thing which comes up is high usage of radiation. As much as your screen time is high, you are making yourself prone to radiation related issues. It could be effect on your eyes, it could be effect on your physical health, it could be a negative effect on your brain, it could be a effect on your disease, also catching disease as well. So yes, negative effects are high with advancement in disease technology as well, because it makes you dependent. First, it starts making you inquisitive, then it makes you dependent, and then it makes you addicted to the same. Any other question, Deepika?
No, ma'am. Okay, one
So
more
I
question.
would,
Okay, Dhananjay is saying,
please.
thank you so much for your reply, ma'am.
You're most welcome. So thank you so much for attending the session. I hope the session was useful for you guys. And thank you so much for having me on the platform. It was a pleasure.
And thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing us with your presence and sharing your valuable insights. I hope each and every participant got benefit by this informative session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Deepika.
So at the end of the day 2 of FDP, I request every participants to fill the feedback form and quiz and assignments and submit till the end of the day. And the e-certificates will be provided to those participants who will fill the forms and submit on time. We will provide feedback form and quiz and assignment form in chat box only. So with this, we extend our sincere appreciation to each and every one of you. Your dedication, passion, willingness have made a significant difference, and we are truly grateful for your presence at this event. So, and hope to see you all tomorrow for witnessing more informative sessions. Thank you all the participants.